498.29 shillings, which had been deposited into Ms. Nyatol's Absa bank account on 12th March 2025, including whether the bank has investigated and established potential coalition between its staff and the fraudsters. Lastly, Mr. Speaker, the committee should further give us the oversight mechanisms put in place by Central Bank of Kenya to ensure that banks take adequate steps to guarantee the safety of customer deposits and confidentiality of personal and banking information, and also take responsibility for systemic lapses that result in fraudulent loss of funds in their custody. I thank you, Mr. Speaker.
Before we take a statement from the majority leader, Senator Tabitha, you had a personal statement to make. Proceed.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker, sir, for giving me this opportunity. I rise pursuant to Standing Order number 58 to issue a personal statement regarding false allegations made by Her Excellency Governor Susan Kihika. Mr. Speaker, sir, during the Senate's short recess in April, Governor Susan Kihika forcibly claimed in a television interview that I was admitted to a hospital in London suffering from kidney failure. She went further to wish me a quick recovery, fully aware that I was neither sick nor hospitalized. This misleading narrative was quickly picked up by mainstream media, newspapers, social media influencers, and bloggers, none of them whom bothered to verify the information with me or my office. Mr. Speaker, sir, this malicious smear campaign was orchestrated under the direction of Susan Kihika. It is regrettable that taxpayers' money from Nakuru County was allegedly used to pay bloggers and influencers to spread misinformation and malign my name. To those who are paid to wish me terminal illness, I urge you to rise up being used as tools of propaganda. Use your literary skills and creativity to earn decent, dignified living. Mr. Speaker, sir, since I was elected by the great people of Nakuru County, I have remained committed to ensuring devolution works effectively by robbing before increased shareable revenue, additional allocations, and conditional grants. These resources were meant to improve the living standards of our people through development. Regrettably, much of these funds have been lost through corruption, dubious procurement practices, and unnecessary foreign travel. Mr. Speaker, sir, as I conclude, I want to assure this House and the people of Nakuru County that I'm in sound health. I was not hospitalized. I've never been admitted to any hospital for kidney-related complications. My commitment to accountability, better health care, and meaningful development for the people of Nakuru remains steadfast and unstoppable. I shall not be intimidated or coward as I execute my constitutional override mandate. God bless you all, and God bless Kenya. Senator Tabitha Keroche. Thank you, Mr. Speaker.
Senator Boni. But before Senator Boni makes his request for a statement, now, honorable senators, indeed you are at liberty, pursuant to Standing Order 58, to rise and make statements of a personal nature. However, if you look at Standing Order 101, in as much as you have that latitude to make a statement on a personal nature, if you read it on 101, especially the very last sentence of 101.1, which states, let me read the entire 101.1, and then I will extract the relevant portion of that particular standing order. Neither the personal conduct of the President, nor the conduct of the Speaker, or any judge, nor the judicial conduct of any person performing judicial functions, nor any conduct of the head of state or government, or the representative in Kenya of any friendly country, or the conduct, and I'm going to emphasize on this one, or the conduct of the holder of an office whose removal from such office is dependent upon a decision of the Senate shall be referred to adversely except upon a specific substantive motion, of which at least 3 days' notice has been given. So any holder of office in this country whose removal from such office depends on a decision of this Senate, if you're to discuss their conduct, then you need to bring a substantive motion. So be guided, honorable senators. Senator Boni. Yes.
Mr. Speaker, following your guidance, it therefore means that because the governor of Nakuru, who would ordinarily be removed by this House, has been the subject of this statement, would it, Mr. Speaker, not be in order, therefore, that the statement should not be allowed to stand on record of the House for that reason?
Yes, Senator Nairobi.
Honorable Speaker, that request by the Senator for Kakamega would entirely depend on what you make of the words adverse reference. Adverse reference. If I brought a statement here paying glowing tributes to the governor of Nairobi, that is not adverse reference. If it is saying I have not seen him in a few weeks, Honorable Speaker, that is not adverse reference. I think that narrow understanding of what adverse reference means will guide the House as to the nature of those statements. And in my view, I didn't hear any adverse reference. It was a narration of events, Honorable Speaker.
Yes, Senator.
Mr. Speaker, I have read Standing Order 101, and I think that I would actually concur with the Majority Whip on a statement of such nature. Because unless it's proven by a court of law that a holder of a public office who is subject to this House has been the one making such allegation, it would be improper for this House to keep that statement on record. My concern is on the status of this House. If we can be able to discuss other holders of other public offices, where does it put us in terms of our impartiality? So, Mr. Speaker, I would also request that that personal statement be expunged from the record of this House to maintain the integrity of this House. It is not anything personal. I don't know. I don't have a relationship with the governor of Nakuru, but I've listened carefully to the words of the statement read by the distinguished senator from Nakuru. So, Mr. Speaker, I would concur with the majority whip on the importance of respecting our standing orders. Thank you, Mr. Speaker.
Honorable Senators, I lifted the contents of 101 as a general guidance, not specifically targeting the statements by the Honorable Senator from Nakuru. However, having listened to your concern, allow me to give a substantive communication guiding on the application of this particular standing order. I will therefore be guiding the House through our communication next week on this particular matter. Senator Boni, you may proceed.
Mr. Honorable Speaker, I rise pursuant to Standing Order number 53-1 to seek a statement from the Standing Committee on Devolution and Intergovernmental Relations on a matter of county-wide concern, namely the stalled projects in Kakamega County. Mr. Speaker, the former administration of the county government of Kakamega had sunk hundreds of millions of shillings in various projects across the county. Many of these projects, Mr. Speaker, have since stalled and without completion will occasion the loss of public funds amounting to over 2 billion shillings, Mr. Speaker. In the statement, Mr. Speaker, the committee should address the following one. What are the reasons why the following construction projects initiated by the former administration of the county government of Kakamega stall? A, Itumbeni Dairy Factory in Malaba constituency, Butali Mareha Road in Malaba constituency, Kobasali Water Project in Malaba constituency, Kakamega Teaching and Referral Hospital in Lurambe constituency, Shamahubu Hospital in Shinyalu constituency, Buhungu Stadium in Lurambe constituency, Bushiangala Eregi Bridge on River Lukose in Ekolomani constituency, Bushiri Nabaholo Road in Nabaholo constituency, Office of the Governor in Lugari constituency, renovations of the Office of the Governor in Kakamega Town in Lurambe constituency, and hundreds of early childhood education centers across the county. 2, give a detailed breakdown of the percentages of works completed in each project, the amount of money already paid out to the respective contractors for the works done, as well as any outstanding balances. 3, give a timeline for the resumption and completion of the said projects, including the reasons why funds for the completion of the project were not factored in the county budgets for the year 2022-23, 2023-24, 2024 and 25 financial years. And finally, Mr. Speaker, state whether the committee, finally, Mr. Speaker, afford the committee a visit to the county of Kakamega to inspect the said projects and ascertain their current status. Thank you, Mr. Speaker, sir.
Senate Majority Leader.
I thank you, Mr. Speaker. Mr. Speaker, I rise pursuant to Standing Order number 57-1 to hereby present the business of the week that commences the 3rd of June 2025, Tuesday. Mr. Speaker, sir, the status of business that is pending before the Senate is as follows. There are 53 bills, of which 37 are the second reading and 16 are at the committee of the whole. Therefore, Mr. Speaker, as we have always done in the past, I want to request our whips, both of whom are present today, Mr. Speaker, to help us
with good mobilization next week so that we can consider the 16 bills, particularly that the Committee of the Whole, Mr. Speaker, before we proceed on recess in about 2 weeks' time. Mr. Speaker, the other 37 that are in second reading, I expect that in the course of time, Mr. Speaker, we shall debate them as well and make our contribution. I want to urge colleagues, Mr. Speaker, to find time to be in the House. Mr. Speaker, it is increasingly becoming a trend in this House where past certain hours you find very few of us around, yet that is the time that we debate this bill. So I want to plead with colleagues that these 37 bills are very important. They are sponsored by each and every one of you, and we need to make contribution, Mr. Speaker. There are 29 motions that are pending conclusion, of which 7 are actually scheduled in today's order paper. I hope after we are done, Mr. Speaker, we shall consider some of them after we are done with the preceding business. There are 478 statements pursuant to Standing Order number 53-1, which is a standing order preceding this statement, Mr. Speaker, that are under consideration by our various committees. As senators will recall, during the afternoon sitting held yesterday, Wednesday, the 28th of May, 2025, the Senate passed the Division of Revenue National Assembly Bill number 10 of 2025. Mr. Speaker, I must say, in my decade plus of being a senator, yesterday was one of my proudest moments. 465 billion to counties, Mr. Speaker, is no mean feat. I know the journey is not yet over because we still have a battle ahead of us, because I am certain our colleagues in the other house, Mr. Speaker, might not view things the way we view them, but even to get it to where it is at the moment, Mr. Speaker, is something that this House needs to be proud of. And I want to appreciate the industry of the Budget and Finance Committee and all the senators that availed themselves yesterday afternoon to consider this particular business. To the team that we shall send, Mr. Speaker, to the mediation, should the National Assembly, and I say should, Mr. Speaker, because I suspect that they may have a visitation, Mr. Speaker, by some good spirit and decide to agree with the Senate. But in the very unlikely event, Mr. Speaker, that they disagree with us, we shall send our best strikers and defenders, Mr. Speaker, from the devolution family to go and put up a good fight and make a good case for devolution, Mr. Speaker. We also passed the cash disbursement schedule, with senators expressing very serious concern, Mr. Speaker, of the delay in disbursement of these funds despite the passage of a disbursement schedule. And we propose to the Budget and Finance Committee as a House, Mr. Speaker, on how this needs to be addressed, Mr. Speaker. I hope the chairperson and the members like the Whip, Senator Alwale, Senator Eddy, I think Senator Onyonka, and all our members who serve in the Budget and Finance Committee will take into consideration the views of members as regards to what needs to happen to solve the mess of delayed disbursement of funds to counties from the National Treasury. With respect to petitions, Mr. Speaker, I'd like to remind the honorable senators that in accordance to Standing Order number 238.3, the Senate is required to consider the reports on petitions within 14 sitting days of their tabling. At present, there are 3 such reports before the Senate, one from one from the Health and 2 from Standing Committee on Justice and Legal Affairs. Mr. Speaker, therefore, I urge the chairpersons to prioritize their presence in the chamber when the motions for those reports are presented. On Tuesday, the 3rd of June, I beg your pardon, Mr. Speaker, the SBC will meet and consider the business for the week. The tentative business for that will include business not concluded from today's order paper, as well as business indicated in the notice paper. As honorable senators may recall, yesterday's morning sitting was suspended by way of motion that was adopted on Tuesday, the 27th of May, to allow senators to participate in the National Prayer Breakfast. Accordingly, business that was scheduled for Wednesday, the 28th of May, 2025, morning sitting, has now been rescheduled to actually Wednesday, the 4th of June, 2025. The summary of questions are as follows. Question number 1 to the Ministry of Energy. Question number 68 to the CS for Energy and Petroleum. Question number 31 by Senator Professor Ojenda to the CS for Blue Economy. Question number 47 to the CS for Mining and Blue Economy. Question number 34 to the CS for National Treasury. 35, 48, and 79, all of them by various senators to the CS in charge of the National Treasury. The tentative business for the afternoon sitting on Wednesday, 4th June 2025, will include business that will not have been concluded in the order paper on Tuesday. There are various bills that are in the second reading stage, which I want to draw the attention of members to. The county government, state officers removal from office procedure, county government's amendment, labor migration, street naming and property addressing bill, Mr. Speaker, and so many bills that are in the third reading stage. Cooperatives, public fundraisings, heritage, and so many others, Mr. Speaker, that are in the third reading stage. The projected business for Thursday, 5th June, Mr. Speaker, will include business not concluded from Wednesday paper. There are various important motions as well, which is one, a report from the Liaison Committee on the activities and operation of select committees during the third session. We normally present this report, Mr. Speaker, as we draw near to the end of a session. Like I have already mentioned, Mr. Speaker, on the 12th of June, this House will rise for a short recess, Mr. Speaker, as per our calendar that we passed here. There's a report also from Devolution and Intergovernmental Relations into the inquiry on the state of governance in the county government of Garissa, arising from a statement sought by Senator Abdul Haji. There's a report from the Standing Committee on Devolution on its inquiry into the state of markets in Vihiga and Bungoma counties, arising from Senator Godfrey Zosotsi and Senator David Wakoli's statements. Mr. Speaker, there are reports from the Standing Committee on National Cohesion, Equal Opportunities, Regional Integration into inquiry of diversity and inclusivity in the staff composition of state agencies. This is a very important statement, Mr. Speaker, and I hope members will be at hand to hear and peruse through this report. Why do I say this, Mr. Speaker? If you recall, after the June 25th protest, we passed a motion in this House, and part of the requirements that we mentioned in that particular motion was inclusivity in state agencies. And I have seen various state agencies appearing before our Committee on National Cohesion. I hope they will eventually present that report to just give a glimpse or a highlight of which are the dominant communities in these parastatals, and more importantly, Mr. Speaker, what measures are being put in place to ensure that there is inclusivity in job opportunities in public sector, Mr. Speaker. That's a very important assignment, which I hope this committee is undertaking with all the seriousness that they can. I look forward to that. There is also a report that will be presented here on the welfare of interns that are working under Public Service Commission. I think a statement that was sought by one of us. Therefore, Mr. Speaker, the next 2 weeks are extremely busy with very important business. So, Mr. Speaker, I know you have the powers to ensure that people stay within the precincts of Parliament, Mr. Speaker, by reducing what you know you need to reduce, Mr. Speaker. I need not mention. Otherwise, Mr. Speaker, I thank you and lay the statement on the table of the Senate. I thank you, Mr. Speaker.
Now, honorable senators, I have a communication to make regarding the conduct of senators while transacting business in the Senate. Over the last few sittings, the Presidium has observed incidents of disorderly conduct in the Senate, thereby necessitating that I make this further communication. Honorable senators, I have previously cautioned senators on the matter of maintenance of order and decorum in the Senate. The standing orders provide a framework for debate and order in the Senate. In particular, I refer honorable senators to Part 18 and Part 20 of the Senate Standing Orders, which provides for rules of debate and order in the Senate and in committees. Allow me, for the benefit of all honorable senators, to reiterate what these parts provide. Part 18 provides for, among others, speaking twice to a question, point of order, anticipating debate, contents of speeches, comments on proceedings of select committees, and responsibility for statement of fact. On the other hand, Part 20, which contains Standing Orders 121 and 122, provide for acts which constitute disorderly conduct and gross disorderly conduct. These standing orders provide that a senator is disorderly if the senator inter alia creates disorder, knowingly raises a false point of order, unnecessarily interrupts proceedings or consults in a disruptive manner, makes allegation without, in the Speaker's opinion, adequate substantiation, or defies a ruling or direction of the Speaker or chairperson of committees, demonstrates or makes disruptive utterances against the suspension of a named senator, disrupts or attempts to disrupt the Speaker's procession, commits any other breach of these standing orders that, in the opinion of the Speaker, constitutes gross disorderly conduct. Honorable Senators, Standing Orders 121.2 and 122.2 further provide for the consequences of creating disorder and gross disorder in the Senate. In the instance of disorderly conduct, the Speaker may call a senator whose conduct is disorderly and to caution the senator or order the senator to withdraw from the premises of Parliament of the Senate for the remainder of that day's sitting. In the instance of gross disorderly conduct, the Speaker shall order the senator to withdraw immediately from the premises of Parliament. On the first occasion, for a maximum of 3 sitting days, including the sitting day of suspension, and on the second or subsequent occasion during the same session, for a minimum of 7 sitting days and a maximum of 21 days, including the day of suspension. Honorable Senators, the above provisions are in place to ensure that debates in plenary proceed in a respectful and constructive manner and allows all senators the opportunity to contribute meaningfully in the process, facilitating the Senate to fulfill its constitutional mandate in an orderly, systematic, and predictable manner. I must once again caution honorable senators that Presidium will not hesitate to invoke and apply the provisions of the standing orders on a senator who is disorderly. I therefore urge all honorable senators to abide by the standing orders and uphold the dignity of the Senate. I reaffirm that the rules will be applied fairly, firmly, and without exception. Now, honorable senators, what I have witnessed in the past few weeks is when a member of the Presidium makes a ruling on a matter and honorable senators engage in a verbal exchange with the chair. That will not be tolerated. And therefore, honorable senators, I urge you to abide by these rules so that we have decorum as we debate our business in the Senate. Thank you. Next order.
Order number 8, motion.
I have just read the rules of order, the rules of this House, honorable senators. I have just read the standing orders on this matter. You know, a point of order can only be raised when there's a senator on their feet. Clearly, there's no senator speaking. So why should you raise a point of order? Absolutely, Majority Leader. That is the way to go. What is your point of clarification?
Mr. Speaker, I don't know who has wronged you today, but I want to apologize on behalf of those who have who may have caused you great distress. But I hope colleagues can abide by what you have guided. I want to humbly plead, if it pleases the Speaker, to allow us this afternoon to make comments, Mr. Speaker, on the statements that have been read before this House. Mr. Speaker, I make this in the most meekest of ways. Thank you, Mr. Speaker.
Honorable Senators, pursuant to standing orders, I will allow a maximum of 15 minutes. That is our allowable under standing orders to make comments. And therefore, if you have an opportunity to speak, honorable senators, please keep it under 3 minutes so that your colleagues can also have an opportunity to speak to these statements. The Honorable Senator for Nairobi County.
Speaker, I happen to know who the offending party that precipitated that communication is, but because I've been asked to be nicer, I will not mention them. Honorable Speaker, I rise to comment on the statement that has been brought by the Senator for Nandi on the murder of Catholic priest, Father Alois Cheruiyot Bet, in very, very tragic circumstances, Honorable Speaker. As a Catholic myself, we as a church have had very traumatic experiences over the past 20 or so years. Honorable Speaker, we will all remember, Honorable Speaker, the tragic deaths of Father Kaiser in 2000. We had Father John Muhia, who was shot dead near Kino in 2018. We have had Father Martin Masharian Njoroge. In 2003, Honorable Speaker, when I was a student at the Parklands Law Campus, this father actually presided over the St. Francis Xavier's Church, which we used to go to in Parklands as students. And then, of course, there was Luigi Lucati in 2005 in Isiolo. And just days before this priest was shot in Tot, Honorable Speaker, there was Father John Degwa Maina of Igwamiti Parish in Nyandarua, who was found with multiple gunshot wounds, Honorable Speaker. We as a house have experienced this tragedy just a few weeks again, Honorable Speaker. We buried one of us who was shot in similar circumstances. And therefore, for the Senator of Nandi to ask that the ministry now needs to give us an update of the security situation in this country, Honorable Speaker, is timely. The most distressing thing is that no people have been arrested, at least in the case of the murder of the former member of parliament for Kasipul. We saw arrests, Honorable Speaker. And by the way, the public is very keen to see how the security forces deal with individual cases that sometimes it appears, Honorable Speaker, that when it is a quote-unquote big person, these investigations are sped up and you can see action being taken very fast. But you can imagine days later, nobody has been arrested for the shooting of this father in Tot. So, Honorable Speaker, I want to join the Senator for Nandi, and because I'm a member of that committee, I want to assure you, Senator for Nandi, that we will do our very best to bring answers, not just to the families, but also to the Church of Christ in Kenya, so that we might be able to put a stop to this end. I thank you, Honorable Speaker.
Majority Leader.
Mr. Speaker, I wish to comment on this statement by Senator Cherargei. On Sunday last week, Mr. Speaker, in the company of the Senator for Uasin Gishu, we visited the family of the late Father Alois Bate. And Mr. Speaker, what we saw in that family is quite devastating. The mother was completely distraught, and as were the siblings and the rest of the family, as well as the community that truly loved their son and felt completely hardly done by murder most foul that happened in the Kerio Valley. Mr. Speaker, we have received reports in the last few months of people being killed so many times, Mr. Speaker, that perhaps the country has become accustomed to these killings and think it's just another report. It's not fair, Mr. Speaker, that we live in the same country with people who cannot sleep in their homes, with children that cannot go to school. I want to plead, Mr. Speaker, that the Committee on Security that will deal with this particular matter, in honor at least of this bishop and so many other innocent Kenyans that have been killed in that corner of the country, Mr. Speaker, that they get to the rock bottom of this particular matter and ensure that these criminals are brought to book. I know it, for example, Mr. Speaker, that the fellow who killed Pastor, Father Alois, Mr. Speaker, is a criminal called Cheptarus. I have seen locals speak and say that we know it is so-and-so that did it. How difficult is it, Mr. Speaker, with all the artillery that is within, Mr. Speaker, our possession, Mr. Speaker, can we do something about it, Mr. Speaker? And if the police are not sufficient, what is the problem? We can gazette that particular part of the country as a disturbed zone and send the best of the best, Mr. Speaker, so that at least our citizens, Mr. Speaker, can sleep like you and I sleep in our homes peacefully. Mr. Speaker, I want to plead that let this be the last of a Kenyan life that is lost in this particular way, Mr. Speaker. In the same way that they have done investigations so quickly, each time there are security scares around what Senator Sifuna calls big people, Mr. Speaker. We'd wish to see that particular kind of speed and tone, Mr. Speaker, and seriousness attached to the investigation relating to the father, to the death of this particular father. It's unfortunate, Mr. Speaker. I send my condolences to his family members and the people, Mr. Speaker, that enjoy mass and service under the leadership of Father Alois Bett. I thank you, Mr. Speaker.
Senator Moruma.
Yeah, thank you, Mr. Speaker, for this opportunity to comment on Senator for Wajia's statement on the implementation of ECDs in Wajir County. The problems that are being faced by Wajir County are not unique to Wajir County, but it's a problem that is replicated across the whole country. Right now, Mr. Speaker, we are doing an inquiry on the level of implementation of ECDs, VTCs, and libraries, which actually devolved. The preliminary findings are that our ECDs, our VTCs, which are devolved, are really suffering. They are in a deplorable condition. Why? Because governors have elected to leave out the functions that are devolved in education and are embracing the functions that are not devolved in terms of scholarships and bursaries, Honorable Speaker. You've heard even the Senator for Kakamega saying that there are so many incomplete projects. Why? Because of in ECD. Why? Because there's a lot of money that is being allocated by governors in these very popular bursaries and scholarships. Mr. Speaker, I'm not saying that governors or county governments should not give bursaries and scholarships. Article 187 is very clear that we must do deed of agreements between the national government and the county governments for the national government to take over the functions from the county governments. But even as county governments are doing that or wanting to transfer the devolved functions, have they done enough in the ECDs? We have gone to counties and seen children learning PP1, PP2, PP1 facing one wall and PP2 facing the other wall. These are very, not an ideal situation of learning, Mr. Speaker. And even when we construct our ECDs, I can say as an educationist that we must provide for the early learners in ECD a provision for play, because children learn by playing. When you build a classroom and there's no play area, how are these children even learning? Mr. Speaker, our curriculum in East Africa is spiral curriculum, where you learn one thing at ECD, when you go up, you learn something different, build up on it. An example is a seesaw. You can see a seesaw as a very enjoyable game, but in terms of learning, that is really physics, because when you do a seesaw, when you go to secondary school, you learn about moments. When you go to the university, you learn about torque or turning effect of two coplanar forces which are in different directions. So, Mr. Speaker, we need really to insist that let county governments do what is devolved, let them leave what is not devolved to the national government. After all, Mr. Speaker, only 15% has gone to the county or is going to the counties. A whole 85% is remaining at the national level.
Senator for Kakamega.
Mr. Speaker, I rise to comment on the statement of killing of Catholic priests. Mr. Speaker, we are not serious. I remember when Father Anthony Kaiser was murdered, his mother country, the United States of America, actually sent here the FBI, the Federal Bureau of Investigations. We had been told by the local investigation agencies that a man who had died from a gunshot at the back of his head had committed his own suicide. Mr. Speaker, where it has reached, we must call for and form a commission of inquiry into the killings of Catholic priests. I say this because on quick notice, I have the following priests who have been murdered. Father Alois Bett, Father John Maina, this year. Father John Anthony Kaiser, 2000. Father John Njoroge Maina, 1918. Father Martin Masharia Njoroge, 2003. Bishop Luigi Locati, 2005. And in the case of Lukadi, Mr. Speaker, at least the investigation was done and a priest was arrested and was convicted. He's serving jail because he had killed this bishop. Mr. Speaker, Father Evans Oduor in 2017, Father Michael Siendo in 2019, and Father Eutychus Mudhuri in Meru in 2019. It cannot be by chance that whenever these priests have been murdered, a theory is normally thrown around in the media that they have committed suicide. We need an inquiry, Mr. Speaker. As a Catholic who was born and bred in a Catholic family, who enjoyed the first Holy Communion, who was confirmed in the Catholic Church, who married in the Catholic Church, Mr. Speaker, and whose children I baptized in the Catholic Church, Mr. Speaker, whose parents I buried in the Catholic Church, I demand there be an inquiry, Mr. Speaker.
Senator Ledama.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker. Mr. Speaker, I rise to make some brief comments on the statement brought by Senator Eddy on consumer protection. Mr. Speaker, it is disheartening to hear that senior citizens are now falling prey of fraudsters who are targeting their retired income. Mr. Speaker, when I heard that statement being read by Senator Eddy, I asked myself, where is the competition authority of Kenya? Because when you look at other jurisdictions, although this is actually something which is a big problem worldwide, but when you look at other jurisdictions, I know I've had Congress discussing this issue. It has ended up actually inviting financial institutions and consumer protection bureaus to be able to understand what is it that they do to protect these senior citizens. If a senior citizen who has worked tirelessly, is going now home to retire, and the day they retire, their money disappear at a go. A senior citizen loses all their money. What do you expect them to do? Mr. Speaker, I would hope that the committee that is going to be investigating this matter sit down with the Competition Authority of Kenya to understand, are they just collecting money, or are they actually engaging in educating these citizens on how they can be able to protect their wealth? Mr. Speaker, it is imperative that financial institutions, I've heard ABSA being mentioned here, I would want to call upon ABSA to train their staff to be able to trace and actually be able to detect any suspicious withdrawals. Mr. Speaker, these are things that can be dealt with. Sometimes when we receive a huge payment, the bank is quick to be able to come and tell you, how come you've received this money from this person? So, Mr. Speaker, those are very, very important things that we must now discuss whether we develop further legislation to protect our senior citizens. Otherwise, if we don't do, we will continue allowing these senior citizens to be preyed upon, like the way, a wolf, it cycles into vulnerable prey. I mean, it's ridiculous, Mr. Speaker. I want to thank the distinguished senator from Migori for bringing this matter. And this is a matter that we must follow through to ensure that we protect our senior citizens. Thank you, Mr. Speaker.
Senator Mungatana.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker. Mr. Speaker, I want to make a quick comment on the statement on the death of our father, Alois Bett. Mr. Speaker, there's a Swahili saying that says, usipo ziba ufa, utajenga ukuta. Mr. Speaker, while I agree with all the statements that my colleagues preceding and who spoke on this statement have said, the one missing issue is what is the preventive strategy that the Cabinet Secretary for Interior has taken on some of these obviously volatile regions. Mr. Speaker, every time something like this happens, you will see a lorry full of policemen, GSU, and all these people. They land on the area, they bring the media with them, and they start moving around with guns cocked, and they say that usalama umethibitishwa katika hiyo area. Mr. Speaker, this is not the way to handle security matters. It cannot be hit and run. It must be that there is a strategy for prevention in areas that are known to be volatile. Mr. Speaker, if there was a strategy, then the committee must be told if the strategy was working. And if the strategy was not working, then the minister must tell us what he's doing to improve the strategy around the region, so that we do not have a repeat of the same incidents. And we do not want a situation where somebody has to be killed for security personnel to be beefed up, because that's the word they always use. Security around this region has now been beefed up. Always reactionary, not moving in front. Where is the intelligence? Where is NIS? Why can't they use the intelligence they receive to take preventive actions? Mr. Speaker, in my county, we have something called the KPR, the Kenya Police Reserve. And this reserve is, Mr. Speaker, for example, now we have raised the issues as leaders many times that we need proper guns, not the old type of guns. You know, the proper guns that can deal with matters. But Mr. Speaker, when you hear, you are told, we are waiting, we want to take these people for training, we are waiting again, we are waiting for what, we are waiting for what. If something happens today, Mr. Speaker, you will see that all the security personnel will be there in Tana River County. But Mr. Speaker, as we are speaking now, it is good for us to have a strategy of prevention. If all the people know that when you come to certain areas, their KPRs are well armed and their arms are modern.
The Senate Minority Leader and Senator for Kilifi County, the Honorable Mazaya.
Asante Bwana Spika. Bwana Spika, kwanza nataka kumunga mkono ndugu yangu Gerard Gay kwa taarifa aliyoleta kuhusikana na vifo vya watu wa kanisa. Bwana Spika, ni jambo la kusikitisha, jambo la huzuni, na jambo ambalo si la sawa. Katika makanisa ni mahali ambapo sisi tunaenda kuomba Mungu, na vile vile ni mahali ambapo ukipatikana na shida aina yoyote, watu hukimbia makanisani ili kupata msaada wa maombi kutoka kwa wale mafadha ama mapasta ama wale wakuu wa vile yale makanisa. Bwana Spika, Father Bet alikuwa katika mkono wake ameshikilia Biblia wakati akiwa mpigwa risasi. Hakushikilia gongo, hakushikilia kisu, hakushikilia bunduki. Alishikilia Biblia. Kwa hiyo Bwana Spika, ni jambo la aibu, ni jambo la kusikitisha. Wale majangili waliingia pale ndani wakiwa na bunduki na kuweza kumpiga risasi na kumuua. Bwana Spika, tunakemea vikali zaidi. Na zaidi sana tunataka kuona ya kwamba serikali imechukua hatua, hususan mkurugenzi ama mkuu wa polisi Bwana Kanja amechukua hatua ya muafaka kuona ya kwamba hawa waliofanya kitendo kile wameweza kufikishwa katika kotini. Bwana Spika, vile vile nataka kusema ya kwamba si upande wa Wakristo peke yake, hata wale wakubwa wa Kiislamu, wale mashekh, kama ukiangalia Sheikh Abu Drogo alikuwa mkuu wa msikiti Busa. Leo hayuko na sisi kwa sababu askari walisingizia. Hakuna ripoti yoyote ama taarifa yoyote iliweza kuletwa kwamba Sheikh Abu Drogo makosa yake yalikuwa ni nini. Hakuna uchunguzi wa aina yoyote ulifanywa na idara ya uchunguzi kuona ya kwamba Sheikh Abu Drogo alikuwa na makosa gani. Familia yake hivi leo inalia. Wanataka kujua kwa sababu gani baba yao aliweza kupoteza maisha. Vile vile kuna Abubakar Makaburi. Sheikh Abubakar Makaburi pia alipigwa risasi na polisi na hakuna uchunguzi wote ulifanywa. Na mwisho Sheikh Idris japokuwa tunaona walichukua hatua, lakini tunasema ya kwamba hawa watu wawili ambao walikufa bila ripoti yao kuweza kujulikana ama kuambia Wakenya ni walikufa kwa sababu gani. Hili ni hatua ambayo ni mbaya na ni mbovu, na tunataka kuijua, kwa sababu mpaka hivi leo hatujajua kilichomuua Sheikh Abu Drogo nini, na pia vile vile Abubakar Makaburi wa familia yake, na watu wa Mombasa na watu wa Pwani kwa ujumla wanauliza mpaka leo ni sababu gani aliweza kuwa. Bwana Spika, mimi naunga mkono.
Honorable Senators, I will add a further 15 minutes. Senator Chute.
Thank you very much, Honorable Speaker. Honorable Speaker, allow me to give a brief comment on the statement by the distinguished Senator from Kakamega, Senator Honorable Dr. Boni Khalwale. Honorable Speaker, the issue of stall projects are everywhere in our 47 counties. It is not a unique issue on Kakamega only. Honorable Speaker, we need, as a Senate, we need to have a committee like devolution to be moving around to inspect projects that have stalled or that have not even been completed or that have been finished but not been commissioned. Honorable Speaker, I went to Somaliland last week, and surprisingly, I wish Senator Sifuna will hear this. When they did the election, Honorable Sifuna was there. It was a very peaceful election, and we went to a city, port city, called Berbera, Honorable Speaker. We met with the mayor. The mayor is Abdishakur, and invited us. Honorable Speaker, his budget is 1.8 billion shillings, Kenya shillings. And if you see that city, it is one of the most beautiful cities in Africa today, with a budget of 1.8, Honorable Speaker. And I want to urge our members, senators, why are we going to Arusha? What business do we have in Tanzania? They are calling us names there. Why do you go to Arusha? Why do you go to Dar es Salaam? Let's go to Somaliland. Let's go to Hargeisa. Let's go to Portland, port city of Berbera. Honorable Speaker, today, I was shocked to see a mayor running a project at 1.8 billion. The roads are good. The water system are working. The police officers are being paid by the mayor. Honorable Speaker, I want to ask our governors to go to Berbera and let them see what is happening there. These toll projects Honorable Khalwale is talking about is everywhere. And they need to go to Berbera and see what 1.8 billion is doing. It is a learning process. I want to urge fellow senators, please go to Somaliland and see what is happening there. Don't go to Dar es Salaam. There is no business, there is nothing you can learn from the people of Tanzania. You understand?
What is your point of order?
I thought just a few minutes ago, you've read for us a very elaborate ruling on conduct in the House, including by way of utterances, Mr. Speaker. And why it's even more troubling is because this is my chairman for cohesion and integration, who is now preaching disintegration, Mr. Speaker. Mr. Speaker, did you hear Senator Chute urge colleagues and the rest of the country that is following that not to go to Dar es Salaam, that there is nothing to learn in Tanzania? Tanzania, Mr. Speaker, despite all these things that are being said, is a beautiful country, Mr. Speaker. There is a lot that we learn from each other. They are our good neighbors, Mr. Speaker. And therefore, I want to request you, Mr. Speaker, that number one, Senator Chute be declared out of order, and the offensive comments to the people of Tanzania, Mr. Speaker, be actually struck out of the records of this House, Mr. Speaker.
Now, Honorable Chute, your comments on the cities of Tanzania and Tanzania in general are uncalled for. May they be expunged from the record. Proceed to conclude.
Let me ask my majority leader, please take a flight to Somaliland, and you will see the difference between Somaliland and Tanzania. That is what I was saying, nothing else. Thank you very much, Honorable Speaker.
Senator Onyonka.
Ndugu Spika, ni heshima sana kupata hii nafasi kuzungumzia jambo ambalo ni jambo nimekuwa nikilizungumzia kwa muda mrefu sana. Na swala ambalo limeletwa hili jumba ni swala ambalo Mheshimiwa Boni Halwale rafiki yangu amelichambua sana. Ukweli ni kuwa hili jumba la Senate kazi yetu ni kuhakikisha kuwa sisi ni nyapara, watu ambao wamepewa jukumu na wananchi kuhakikisha kuwa hela za wananchi wa Kenya ambazo zinatakiwa zifanye kazi kwa mashinani zifanye. Kuhakikisha kuwa serikali kuu ikishachukua ushuru wetu tunagawa hizo pesa alafu zinaenda kule mashinani. Lakini vile ndugu yangu Halwala imesema, ndugu Spika, ukitembea Kenya mzima kwa maeneo gatuzi 47 yote kuna miradi haijafanyika, fedha zinafujwa. Ukiangalia ile miradi mingine ambayo imepewa fedha nyingi, utapata hata juzi nimepata ujumbe kuwa kuna maeneo mengine miradi iko kwa karatasi ya serikali, lakini ukienda pale ukiangalia kama hiyo miradi ipo haipo. Ndugu Spika, ningependa kukusihi kama yule ambaye anatusimamia kwa hili jumba, ni wajibu wetu kama viongozi ambao tumepewa jukumu la kuhakikisha tumechunga na kulinda hela za wananchi wale maskini nchi yetu. Tuondoke hapa Nairobi, tuende tukatembee mashinani ndugu zanguni. Hata kikao cha Senate ambao tunafanyia hapa, wakati huu teknolojia inatukubali, ndugu Boni, tuende kule Kakamega, tuketi kwa jumba la County Assembly, tuzungumzie maneno ambao ni yetu kama Senate, lakini tutembee mashinani tuone vile wananchi wa Kakamega pesa zao zinatumika. Tumetembea Garissa, tumeenda Wajir na ndugu zangu hapa, tumeenda mpaka Kisii, tumeenda Marsabit. Tukifika pale unaona ndio sasa magavana wanaanza kujishughulisha, wengine wanaanza kutuzungumzia, wengine wanasema haya mambo tunayafanya. Ningependa kusii wale ambao mko hapa kwa hili jumba, hakikisha kuwa kama tunatembea na tumeenda haswa kwa jimbo fulani, tuseme kama hivi juzi tulikuwa kule Machakos, tuhakikishe isizidi zaidi ya mwezi mmoja, tuwe tunaenda kuona kule yale ambao tulikubaliana na gavana na maofisa wa kaunti yake yametendeka na yamefanyika. Lazima tuhakikishe kama viongozi. Mimi nawasihi tena la pili, tujiondoe hapa Nairobi ndugu zanguni, tutembee mashinani ili tujaribu kusaidia viongozi wengine na tujaribu kusaidia wananchi.
Senator Andy Okech.
Mr. Speaker, I want to comment on the statement by Senator Chirargei. Mr. Speaker, the person we are talking about here is a man who lived by faith. A man, Mr. Speaker, that if you had the opportunity to grow up in a Sunday school or in a madrasa, you would know that when our kids go to these places of worship and a man of God steps in, it's like life has just arrived, Mr. Speaker. It's painful, Mr. Speaker, that even at times of war or at times of violence that we experience in this country, Mr. Speaker, for instance, in 2007, Mr. Speaker, the places of worship is the places our children and ourselves run to get refuge. And yet today, Mr. Speaker, we are in a country where men of God can be killed without any recourse to them, Mr. Speaker. We've just seen a member of the National Assembly the other day, Mr. Speaker, faking his own abduction. And yet he was in a room with some MCA or some random person, Mr. Speaker, and within 5 minutes, the instruments of power in this country, the internal security, the instrument of DCI, were able to close that file by investigating it in the shortest time possible, Mr. Speaker. Why would a reverend, Father Bet, die and days, weeks, months are going to be counted without investigation being concluded, Mr. Speaker? Where are the people, Mr. Speaker, who we trust with security in this country? Where is the CS in charge of internal security, Mr. Speaker, in this country? It is making this government look bad, because if you have got a CS like CS Burkomen, Mr. Speaker, this is a place where we should have had heads rolling. And Mr. Speaker, it's actually surprising that this is happening in Elgeyo Marakwet, where the CS is coming from, Mr. Speaker. This is something that we cannot tolerate, Mr. Speaker, and I think that this House should not just stop at a point of making it a statement to be committed to a committee, Mr. Speaker. This should be something that we form a team from the Senate to do a proper inquiry of why is it that men of God, whether from the Muslim faith or whether from the Christian faith, whether from the Baha'i faith, whether from the Jews' faith, why is it that they're being targeted, Mr. Speaker? Can't we form a proper team from the Senate, a committee to do a proper inquiry and make sure that there's justice? We cannot allow, Mr. Speaker, our institution of faith to start being targeted. We will collapse as a country, because these are the places that we run to when the country is confused. These are the places that we run to when there is violence in the country. These are the
No, that's enough. Senator Mariam Sheikh.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker, for giving me this opportunity. Mr. Speaker, I also wanted to comment on the statement raised by the Senator Abbas Wajir on ECDs, Mr. Speaker. Mr. Speaker, our ECD is mess. Mr. Speaker, ECD is devolved, and the governor must be serious on the education levels. Once the foundation level of the kids is missed, it will be also difficult for them to catch up in the upper and in university level. Mr. Speaker, our ECD is not even in Wajir. The problem is not in Wajir only. It is all over. In fact, there's no structure. Learners are learning under the trees in some counties. And also, Mr. Speaker, learners are normally encouraged to come to the ECD because of feeding programs. Mr. Speaker, some counties doesn't have feeding program budget. That is one of them is Wajir. This encourage that pastoralists normally, most of the kids are encouraged when there is the feeding program is there. Mr. Speaker, overcrowding is there in each counties, and the timeline of the construction of the permanent infrastructure, it must be done so that this educational level will be higher level. Mr. Speaker, also as a country, even are we ready for accommodating the grade 9 in each public schools, Mr. Speaker? Because when it comes to grade 9, there must be infrastructure, the teachers, and also infrastructure level as a lab, because it must be done in the private, in a public school, Mr. Speaker. Mr. Speaker, let the governors be very serious on the education levels, because they are the budget of the county, Mr. Speaker, is the second highest budget in counties, Mr. Speaker. The first one is education, health. The second one is educations. Mr. Speaker, they are so mind on the bursary issues, but they are not attentive on the infrastructure on CDs.
Senator Mwinyi Haji Mohamed Faki.
Asante Mheshimiwa Spika kwa kunipa fursa hii kuchangia taarifa ambayo imeletwa bungeni na Senator Khalwale kuhusiana na kucheleweshwa kwa kumalizika kwa miradi kadha wa kadha katika kaunti ya Bungoma. Mheshimiwa Spika, hili sasa limekuwa ni donora sugu katika kaunti nyingi ambapo utapata magavana wanaoingia ofisini wanapuuza miradi ambayo ilianzwa na magavana waliotangulia. Kwa mfano Mheshimiwa Spika, kule kwetu Mombasa kuna miradi kadha wa kadha mingine ya ECD ambayo hivi majuzi tuliizuru tukiwa na mwenyekiti wa kamati ya elimu ya bunge hili. Tulizuru ECD ya Kengeleni Mheshimiwa Spika ambayo ilianzwa kutoka mwaka 2016, tukazuru ECD ya Chaani pia ilianzwa mwaka huo wa 2016 na nyingine nyingi Mheshimiwa Spika ambazo zote zimekwama, na hivi sasa wananchi wanalalamika kwamba hakuna huduma zinazotolewa katika majengo hayo, wakati wale wanakandarasi pia wanaendelea kupata shida kuweza kulipwa pesa zao kwa sababu miradi haijafanyika. Mheshimiwa Spika, tuliona pia katika maeneo ya Likoni Shonda kuna hospitali ambayo ilianzishwa na ikakamilika kabisa, lakini mpaka sasa Mheshimiwa Spika haijafanya chochote, wakati wananchi wanapata shida maeneo ya Likoni kupata huduma za afya kwa sababu zahanati na hospitali zilizoko pale hazitoshi. Lakini tuna hospitali mpya ambayo haijakamilika Mheshimiwa Spika, ambayo ingeweza kutoa huduma muhimu kwa wananchi wa sehemu zile katika maeneo ya Likoni. Kwa hiyo Mheshimiwa Spika, ningesema kwamba hii kamati ya ugatuzi yani devolution isikomee Kakamega, ivae njuga na itembelee kaunti zote ili kuweza kuzuru miradi ambayo imekwama, ambayo fedha nyingi Mheshimiwa Spika zimeweza kuingizwa katika miradi ile wakati hakuna chochote kimeweza kupatikana kwa muda wote huu. Asante sana Mheshimiwa Spika.
Senator Chelege Samson.
Mr. Speaker, thank you. Let me comment on few things by Senator Eddy on the issue of consumables under competition authority. I did raise the issue. Mr. Speaker, are you aware these dairy farmers, there is unfair competition? And I did raise this matter on competition authority of Kenya, that they must do a lot, Mr. Speaker, because the market sharing and even unfair practices within trade is what I was pointing, and I hope, and I want to request Senator Eddy through the committee you referred, Speaker, the ABSA Bank and all other banks, including M-Pesa, must be someone, because we are aware, even in Inua Jamii, where the old men go and take their 2,000 shillings per month, there is no clarity on who the beneficiaries are or the costing of such transactions. So I hope the ABSA Bank, the M-Pesa Foundation, and other banks that are being used to pay, Mr. Speaker, and I hope the Association of Bankers and under the Banking Act, the ABSA Bank officials must be prosecuted for that violation of the law. Number two, and finally, Mr. Speaker, on this issue of stalled projects, it is very sad. Because, for example, in Nandi, Kabiyet, Nandi Creameries are stalled, Kobujoy Hospital are stalled, Chepterwai Hospital are stalled, newborn unit, mother and baby, Kapsabet Hospital is stalled, Kobujoy Hospital is stalled, Kapkeringon ECD is stalled, Kabikwen ECD is not even there, VTC like Sigilai, Cheptarit, Mr. Speaker, and others are stalled, Mr. Speaker. Even roads, I cannot name vocational training centers, I cannot even, all ECD centers are dysfunctional, Mr. Speaker. A number of projects, and I want to request the following as a progress. Mr. Speaker, is it possible as a house, especially on stalled projects in Nyamira, in Migori, in Kericho, in Kakamega, in Taita Taveta, where you find they have a pending bill of over 1.5 billion, yes, it is a small county like Taita Taveta. Is it possible as a house to form a select committee to audit stalled projects or allow the County Public Accounts Committee jointly with the Finance and Budget to look at the stalled projects including Meru County, Mr. Speaker? That is only the time we'll get value for money. I remember Oparanya tried to build an hospital, Kakamega County Referral Hospital, worth 6 billion. in 10 years, it could not succeed. The national government was supposed to pick it up, Mr. Speaker. Is there a possibility of doing an audit of stalled projects, especially by county government? And I hope the majority leader who sits in Senate Business Committee can provide us with a way forward on how we can handle stalled projects in Bomet County, Mr. Speaker, for example, or even in Embu County, Mr. Speaker. So on this, even Kidundu Stadium in Vihiga, where Vihiga Queens, Mr. Speaker, Vihiga Queens, who are known, Mr. Speaker, are training, it must be looked into. I support.
Senator Mogeni Yelek Okongo.
Mheshimiwa Spika, anasimama kuunga mkono hoja iliyowasilishwa na seneta wa jimbo la Migori, Seneta Eddie Okech, kuhusu visa vya ulaghai kutoka mabenki, hasa hii benki ya Absa. Mheshimiwa Spika, mimi nashangaa sana kwamba kama taifa tunapatia leseni benki waje wafanye biashara kulinda pesa ya wananchi wa taifa la Kenya, lakini wanarudi kuwalaghai na kuwanyang'anya pesa. Itakuwaje, Mheshimiwa Spika, mama kama huyu ambaye alikuwa amestaafu, pesa yake itoke kwa benki milioni 2.4, na inasemekana kwamba wale ambao wamehusika ni maafisa wa benki ya Absa. Mheshimiwa Spika, mimi ningeomba sisi kama nyumba ambayo inawakilisha wananchi wa taifa la Kenya, tuite huyu mkurugenzi aje hapa atueleze hivi visa ambavyo tumeanza kushuhudia, kwamba mtu akienda kwenye benki akitoa pesa, wale maafisa wanaofanya kwenye benki ndio wanapigia simu wakora. Juzi nimeona katika mkoa wa Magharibi, Mheshimiwa Spika, mtu ambaye alikuwa ni askari ameenda kwenye benki, ametoa pesa kwenda kulipa watu ambao wamefanyia kazi. Akitoka hivi watu wenye benki wanapiga simu na yeye anapata wakora njiani kabla afike kule anaenda. Hatuwezi kubali, Mheshimiwa Spika, wale ambao tumepewa jukumu la kutulindia pesa yetu warudi kwamba hao ndio walaghai wanatunyang'anya. Mheshimiwa Spika, mimi ningetaka nione sura ya huyu mkurugenzi mkuu wa hii benki. Mheshimiwa Spika, atasimamia haje pesa na yeye arudi kusema kwamba yeye ndiye atakuwa mstari wa mbele kuhakikisha kwamba wafanyikazi wale wamewaajiri pale ni wakora. Tungejua yule ambaye alisababisha huyu mama Violet Akoth Nyatol kunyang'anywa pesa, bado yeye ni afisa bado kwenye ile benki ya Absa mpaka tunazungumza leo, kwa sababu kama yuko pale tunasema mwingine atanyang'anywa kesho. Kwani sisi tutakuwa ni nyumba ambayo tunapata visa vinahusu wa Kenya, tuwazungumza na hakuna hatua inachukuliwa. Mheshimiwa Spika, tumuite mkuu wa kitengo cha DCI aje hapa atueleze haya mambo tumesoma, kwa sababu mimi niko na ripoti nyingi sana nimesoma kwenye magazeti, watu ambao wakitoka kwenye benki wakiwa wametoa pesa, wale maafisa wa benki wanapiga simu wananyang'anywa pesa. Hii idara ya DCI imefanya nini kuwatia mbaroni hao ambao wanahusika? Huyu mkuu wa hii benki, yeye amefanya nini kuwaondoa kwenye benki wale ambao wanahusika katika visa hivi? Mheshimiwa Spika, hatuwezi tukakubali kwamba wizi unafanywa kutoka ndani ya benki. Nchi itakuwa imeisha, Mheshimiwa Spika. Kwa hivyo naomba ile kamati ambayo itaangalia mambo haya ichukulie ili jambo kwa njia ya muhimu sana. Tutafute suluhisho na wale ambao wanafanya kazi kwenye hizi benki wanahusika katika visa hivi wafutwe kazi. Mimi sitaki kuenda kwenye benki, Mheshimiwa Spika, nikitoa pesa natoa, nikitoroka nikishangaa kama nitafika nyumbani. Naunga mkono hoja hii, Mheshimiwa.
Senator Veronica Duarte.
Thank you, Honorable Speaker, for this opportunity. I want to support the statement by Senator Abbas Sheikh, on the issue of the ECD centers in Wajir County. Honorable Speaker, the counties have been mandated to establish and set ECD centers across the 47 counties. One of the reasons why this statement is so crucial is because it is at the stage of ECD that children's cognitive attributes are developed, Honorable Speaker. And if you look at some of the ECDs that are being put up by counties, they are pathetic, Honorable Speaker. They cannot even help any of those minors who are attending those ECD centers to be able to develop the cognitive abilities they are supposed to have by the time they join the pre-primary stage of education. And while this right has been assured and resourced, such that the resources have been devolved to the counties, Honorable Speaker, they are doing a bad job. In fact, it is shocking that a county like Wajir, where children are very vulnerable, you will find that the governor or the county government has not even managed to roll out a basic feeding program. Even the porridge that counties are purporting to feed the children with, you'll find that in such a county they have not even made any arrangements for the feeding program, so that even when the child goes to school, he or she is not able to keep tabs with what they are being instructed on. So, Honorable Speaker, I support this statement, and I urge the committee, the education committee, to go even beyond what is provided for in this statement, to check what is the capacity of the instructors who are being sent to the ECD, who are being employed by the county governments. You will find, Honorable Speaker, that some of those instructors are not even qualified to instruct in an ECD because of the capacity. And the idea should be, this capacity should be built so they are well-resourced to deliver on the mandate that they are given to handle our children at a very, very tender stage, Honorable Speaker. So I would urge the committee to ensure that they check the terms also that are being given to the instructors and the caregivers and the whole support system, the staff, the staff establishment that is serving these CCDs in the counties. What is their capacity and what terms are they being given? Honorable Speaker, the other day I went to the Education Committee as a friend of the Education Committee. I was really shocked to hear what some of the counties are paying the ECD teachers. And we are expecting them to deliver, to give the rights that these children are supposed to be having. And it is shocking that the capacity is wanting on some of the teachers. And yet also the facilities that have been offered by some of the counties, you find they've put up a basic structure. It doesn't even have furniture. And
Okay, thank you. I declined the same request, so I'm really not able to do that, Senator Veronica. Next time I'll give you that favor. I know you are my good friend. Senator Ezena Lemaletian.
It's security. Thank you, Mr. Speaker. And I rise to support, to make my contributions on the statement on the killing of the Catholic bishop in Elgeyo Marakwet. Mr. Speaker, I first of all want to convey my condolences to the family and to the people of Elgeyo Marakwet. I also convey my sincerest condolences to my fellow members of the Catholic Church. And I know that there's a prerequisite for the Catholic priests and leaders of the church, having been proudly a member of the Catholic Church, and I honor them for being responsible for my education since attending boarding in Standard 3 up to high school, where I almost became a nun. I deeply honor them in my heart and in high regard. Mr. Speaker, for one, I want to applaud the Ministry of Interior for trying their best to silence the gun in the valleys in the north. I know I have been a loud voice in this house as far as security is concerned in the northern parts of the country. And for once, our people are trying to sleep in peace. But all is not done yet. There is a lot of work that still needs to be done. And it must have taken them a lot to be able to silence the guns in the side of Samburu. I have no doubt that it's the same criminals that have moved southwards. And so, I am not asking the Ministry of Interior to remove the security apparatus and personnel in Samburu County, but to continue strengthening and thoroughly dealing with these criminals across every county in the northern parts of Kenya and the northern part of Rift Valley. I know that the security in that region is a very tough business, but tough business is meant for tough people. And we are not exactly talking about security here. The fact that the Catholic Church was a target It means that there is a team of people there who do not want to liberate their minds from the darkness. They said education is the movement from darkness, as alleged by one Alan Bloom, and I want to agree. And we know that the Catholic Church has been one of the largest non-government provider of education and healthcare globally. And many humanitarian organizations are also under the Catholic Church. We know that the Catholic Church has had a reputation for giving rise to individuals and communities.
If you wait a bit longer, maybe after the next order, you might be able to get an opportunity to prosecute the issue. But the time was so limited to 3 minutes. Honorable Senators, this communication was learned earlier, but unfortunately the teachers and the students were not sitting in the public gallery at that time. I've confirmed now they are well settled, and I would want to acknowledge them in this manner. And I can see the Honorable Senator for Hembu is really keen on this. I would like to acknowledge in the presence, in the public gallery, this afternoon, the presence of visiting teachers and students from Kanyuambora Boys High School in Embu County. The delegation comprises 4 teachers and 96 students who are in the Senate for a one-day academic exposition. Honorable Senators, in our issued tradition of receiving and welcoming visitors to Parliament, I extend a warm welcome to them, and on behalf of the Senate and on my own behalf, wish them a fruitful visit. Thank you. Senator Mudigi, 1 minute is enough.
Asante Bwana Spika kwa kunipa ruhusa niweza kuchangia na kukaribisha watoto wa Kanyuambora Secondary School. Kanyuambora Secondary School iko katika Embu County, Mbeere North, na ni pahali na nataka niseme Senate hii wakati wa by election tutakuwa huko, na kwa sababu Bwana Speaker majority alikuwa amewakaribisha, ningeomba wakati wa siasa itakayokuja wakati ule Bwana Speaker majority utapitia kwa hiyo shule. Ni shule nzuri ambaye katika Kenya County iko na mambo ya kielimu ambaye inaendelea vizuri sana. Ya pili Bwana Speaker, ile shule imetoka katika Mbeere North, pahali hakuna maji, hakuna hospitali, hakuna nini, na ndio tumekuwa mara mingi tukisema mambo ya competition iweze kupelekwa kwa shule, ndio watoto kama hawa wanajikakamua. Mali hakuna hospitali, hakuna dawa, waweze kupata zile pesa, waweze kuisaidia. Pia nikimalizia Bwana Speaker, ile shule iko pahali hakuna chochote, hata walimu wakienda shule ni sinda, na ndio tumekuwa tukisema tukichangia mambo ya handship isitolewe katika Embu County, Mbeere North na Mbeere South, ndio walimu kama wale waweze kucherekea na watoto wetu wa Embu County waweze kuendelea vizuri. Bwana Speaker, ninasema ni asante. Mkirudi nyumbani ningemuomba kama amutajielimisha na mambo mbaya, mambo ya pombe, mambo ya dawa ya kulevya, ni nyinyi mtakuwa maseneta, nyinyi mtakuwa magavana, nyinyi mtakuwa kama speaker kama ule tuko naye katika siku ya leo. Asante Bwana Speaker, nimewakaribisha.
Senator Mundigi, umetangaza kwamba kuna marundio ya uchaguzi huko na hakuna taarifa imeletwa hapa kama kuna kiti ambacho kiko wazi. Kama umejiuzuru ama unapanga namna gani?
Speaker, hakutangazwa, lakini unajua kuna waziri alipatiwa kiti na kuna siku ile ambaye IMBC itatangazwa kutakuwa na by election.
Asante sana.
Na ninajua majority atakuwa kule na inakuwa wewe majority. Kwa sababu uliongea mambo ya hii shule. Kama masaa 2 imepita utahudhuria ile shule. Asante.
Next order, clerk.
Order number 8, motion, consideration of the report of the Standing Committee on Health on a petition to the Senate by Ms. Mercy Jepchirchir regarding alleged medical negligence and staff incompetence which led to the death of Ms. Anita Jepkorir at the Moi Teaching and Referral Hospital. Resumption of debate interrupted on Wednesday, 28th May 2025, afternoon sitting.
Yeah, this is a resumption of debate. And last time, Senator Dr. Mboni Karware, CBS MP, has a balance of 13 minutes. So if you want to utilize them, well and good. If we exhausted your points, then you can move on to any other senator interested to contribute.
Honourable Speaker, I thank you for that latitude. But before I proceed from where I left, allow me also to join Senator Mundiki in welcoming these young people from Embu. Mr. Speaker, it pays respect to remind these young people that they come from a unique county, the county of Jeremiah Nyaga, one of the 15 members of the cabinet of President Kenyatta in 1963, who served this country without stealing a cent from public coffers. And it was therefore not by accident that he was inherited by his two sons, both of them who are my colleagues in this House, Senator Honorable John Nyaga and Honorable Norman Nyaga. Mr. Speaker, yesterday I left when I had just begun, and the difficulty I was having was to convince the House that this is a very delicate matter, a matter that is going to pronounce that a doctor was negligent and therefore responsible for the death of young Anita Chepkorir. It is so delicate that we must understand. We must understand that to find a doctor negligent, it is not just by knee-jerk. You must tick off boxes that when the patient went, was there misdiagnosis? In this case, Dr. Stephen actually made the correct diagnosis. He made a diagnosis that there was a foreign object in the pulmonary system. So you can't indict him on that. Number two, was there failure to give treatment? Again, you cannot indict Dr. Stephen Ondigo on this because he actually gave the standard prescribed treatment for removal of a foreign body in the pulmonary system, Mr. Speaker. The third one is, was there surgical or anesthetic error? And this is an area where I want to agree with the committee that the Kenya Medical Practitioners and Dentist Council should establish whether the surgery that was offered by Dr. Stephen Ondigo and his team was accompanied with errors. Mr. Speaker, there is the question you have to answer when you are establishing negligence is whether the surgery that was done was necessary or unnecessary. On this one, again, you cannot indict Dr. Stephen Ondigo because the bronchoscopy that he did, followed by the subsequent thoracotomy that was carried out on poor little Anita, is the prescribed procedure that doctors use in the best international practices to retrieve a foreign object in the pulmonary system. Mr. Speaker, the fifth question we must respond to before we indict doctor is, were there any medication errors? Was a prescription made that should not have been made that could have caused the death of this child? Again, there's no evidence in this report showing that Dr. Stephen Ondigo made a wrong prescription. So you cannot indict him. Mr. Speaker, then finally, Mr. Speaker, on the issue.
Yes, just a minute, Senator Mgatana. What is your point of order?
Yes, Mr. Speaker, on a point of order, is and the Honorable Kalwale will come from very far, so it must be something. I need to be educated on this. Is it in order for you to say that Dr. Odigo or Stephen Ondigo actually was okay and he was not professionally, and as you explained, and I'm not in that profession, so I need an explanation. Is it really correct to tell the House that he was competently performing these duties when in page 14 of the report, paragraph 19, if you look at it, Mheshimiwa, you will see it say, consequently, the KMPDC directed MTHR and the medical doctor mentioned to with immediate effect to mediate with the estate of the late Miss Anita Jepkorir jointly with a view to making restitution and inform the council within 90 days. Further, the MTRH and Dr. Stephen Ondigo are fined 350,000 and 200,000 respectively. I mean, if they were fined by their own professional bodies and also told to mediate so that they can pay the estate of the child who passed away, I'm struggling to follow, and I'm listening very carefully, but I'm struggling to follow your submissions vis-a-vis the finding that is contained in the Committee of Health.
So, Senator Mugatana,
So what is it in order for the minister, for the Honorable, actually he has served as a minister also, for the Honorable Senator Khalwale to assert that the doctor performed his professional duties in an appropriate way while the report has stated clearly the findings that are to the contrary? I submit, Mr. Speaker.
maybe he is disagreeing with the report of the committee, which is also allowable in our standing orders. So, Senator Boni, Senator Mugatana wanted to be educated how you are now exonerating Dr. Stephen from that negligence which ran to the death of Jepkorir.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker. Mr. Speaker, my colleague with whom we joined this parliament the same day is running ahead of me. I'm building a case of giving Senate the stature of being a house of justice. I am showing where Dr. Stephen Ondigo got it right, and he missed to hear me when in my bullet number 3, I said the committee questioned whether there was surgical or anesthetic error. And if he had heard me, I said that I congratulate the Kenya Medical Practitioners and Dentist Council for giving the answer that suggests that Dr. Stephen Ondigo should be indicted on this score. And so that future generations that will read what we are doing today and make it a point of reference do not think that we are myopic academic dwarfs in this house who are not able to rise above the findings of the committee and not make it richer. So, Senator, you're quite right. I have exonerated him on several boxes, but indicted him on the box of the possible surgical and anesthetic error. Mr. Speaker, I would like to carry the distinguished senator from the Bokot community of Kenya from Tana River with me, because all factors remaining equal, probably when I'll be serving as president, he'll be the Chief Justice in my government. So our futures are very bright, Mr. Speaker. Mr. Speaker, does somebody have any doubt about those two possibilities? I declare my presidential ambitions. Let me finish with Kakamega first. And I know because people killed Honorable Charles Ngonga, where just the other day, because they feared to face him for the position of governor, you don't know what these cowards walking on the streets can do to a promising son of the Republic of Kenya in the name of Dr. Boni Khalwale, MB, CHB, CBS. Doctor, can I continue? I wanted to intimidate the leader of the majority because he was looking at me with the jonjo-like eyes. Mr. Speaker, thank you very much. Having said this, Mr. Speaker, I want to join the committee and Parliament in general in extending my heartfelt condolences to the family of Anita. No patient should ever die in the hands of a doctor, in the hands of a medical practitioner. Mr. Speaker, it's unfortunate that little Anita lost her life. And I would be the last person to side with any medical practitioner who is incompetent. And I'll tell you, I've suffered this pain. My wife was giving birth to her first set of twins. And, Mr. Speaker, we got the first twin right. But the second twin, the medical team incompetently handled it. We have never taken it up to date. So I know what this family is going through, and I want to thank the committee for recommending that the family be compensated. Not that the compensation will return Anita to the family, but because it gives the impression to the family that somebody cares. Somebody would have loved that the child lives on and on, Mr. Speaker. Mr. Speaker, having said that, allow me to lean now on the professional side of this hospital. The recommendations made in respect of this hospital, Mr. Speaker, some of them are superfluous. Who told you that Moi Teaching and Referral Hospital, one of the most respected hospitals in Africa, does not have the protocols that you are recommending here? This is superfluous. You want to give the impression that Moi Teaching and Referral Hospital is a place where you find quacks, is a place where the administrators are not competent. That is not true. I want to defend Moi Teaching and Referral Hospital. There are a lot of my former classmates, both at Kakamega High School, at the University of Nairobi and the medical school, who are professors at this institution, including Professor Stanley Ominde Khainga, who are extremely competent, who are not only just professors in this university, but, Mr. Speaker, they serve as external examiners. Because I can see Mungatana in the house, I can see Mwalimu Maruma is in the house, I can see Omogeni is in the house, I can see Senator Aaron Girod, leader of majority, is in the house, both men of academic letters. They understand what it means for a professor to be made a visiting examiner. They go and supervise exams in Glasgow, in John Hopkins School of Medicine in the US, in Lagos, in Makerere, in Dar es Salaam, because of the high standard. So this superfluous recommendation should be actually expunged so that we uphold the status of Moi Teaching and Referral Hospital. Mr. Speaker, as I appeal to the family to struggle with the grieving that they are going on and bear with the medical profession, the first thing that we do before we are released as doctors is we take the Hippocratic Oath. Mr. Speaker, the Hippocratic Oath makes sure that thou shall not knowingly cause the death of a patient. And therefore, any patient dying is not usually because of malice on the part of the doctor or incompetence, because, as they say in medical schools, doctors treat, but the Lord Almighty cures the patient. Mr. Speaker, I tell you, I have seen things in my 30 years plus of practice of medicine. Mr. Speaker, the light is up. With those many remarks, I support with proposals that we amend the report.
Next is Senator Mariam Sheikh Omar.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker, for giving me this opportunity. Mr. Speaker, I also raised to support the reports, consideration of the report of the Standing Committee of Health on petition of the Senate by the Mercy regarding the alleged medical negligence and staff incompetency which leads to the death of the Anita at Moi Teaching Referral Hospital. Mr. Speaker, these are the petitions which we handle in the committee. I'm a vice chair. Mr. Speaker, this is emotional petition of a baby, Anita, a girl of 6 years, to lose her life because of negligence of a doctor. Mr. Speaker, the key issues raised in the petitions is it's a failure to allocate and removal of the foreign body from the body, despite so many procedures done. Mr. Speaker, that shows that is an incompetency of the doctors. Mr. Speaker, as a committee also, we undertook thorough inquiry on the matter raised with the hospital, that is Moi Teaching Referral Hospital, and the KMDPU, so that at least we come up with these reports. Mr. Speaker, in the petition, the committee faced frustrations, and the petitioner informed us that she faced frustrations from the hospital, that is Moi Referral Hospital, when she was sorted an information about the procedures and also the missing teeth, Mr. Speaker. She narrated how she was being asked to tore down her tone down so that the medical staffs and her daughter will be attended to. If not, if you don't tear your low down, your daughter will not be attended to. Mr. Speaker, this shows that collaboration, there is the collaboration between the hospitals and the KNDPU. It violates the principal confidentiality of the patient, Mr. Speaker. I'm saying this because KMDPU shared the information of the patients to another person, so that there is enhancement and mishandling by the KMDPU for the investigation of this when we are doing this investigation. Mr. Speaker, with this we also find that, Mr. Speaker, when things happen, when this negligence happen, the patient normally goes to KMDPU for investigations. Mr. Speaker, if the KMDPU allegedly, which is they support the medical negligence, and also they also mismanage and fail to also to follow up the case, Mr. Speaker, very elegantly. That showed that the subject of humiliations and harassment and intimidation by the individual of KMDPU. Mr. Speaker, in this case, the Mama Mercy also identified, even she has named those people in the KMDPU that humiliate her and harass her. So I am calling upon the KMDPU to deal with those individuals so that these things will not come back again. Mr. Speaker, we also find out that there is also a review of our medical education, Mr. Speaker. Why I'm saying that, Mr. Speaker, since we have dealt with so many negligence, one is Mama Lucy, the other one is Kiambu, there is also one in Kenyatta National Hospital. Mr. Speaker, there is one of Kirinyaga, baby Ridwan, who was misdiagnosed and his fingers was amputated. Later on, he's passed away. Mr. Speaker, this shows that we need to review the professional ethics, our medical professional ethics, Mr. Speaker. Because what we are taught in our education level on medicals is not what is happening on the ground, Mr. Speaker. If at all, we have such kind of professionals and ethics education properly, these will have not happened, these issues of negligence, Mr. Speaker. Mr. Speaker, we also recommend so many things, and Mr. Speaker, we encourage that the family of the Mercy, that is the baby Anita, she must be compensated. It means that we compensate for negligence caused by the Negligent Act, both the medical practitioner, that is doctors, and the hospital from the medical indemnity insurance, Mr. Speaker. Mr. Speaker, the committee also recommend that with the table of this report, Mr. Speaker, the committee recommend that Moi Referral Hospital will not do any procedurals without supervision of, Mr. Speaker, the professionals, qualified medical specialists, Mr. Speaker. Mr. Speaker, we also recommend that within 3 months of the tabling of this report, issues to write to the medical practitioners involving an ultimate death of the Anita, Mr. Speaker, to investigate the professional conduct of the officer in its legal department, that is Ninkem DPU, that she has even named the names. I cannot remember the name. She has named the name so that they will now, professional misconduct will be, the investigation must be done on the mishandling of mismanagement and delay investigation, Mr. Speaker. Mr. Speaker, we also recommend that, Mr. Speaker, we also recommend that we create the KMDPU to create a formal patient advocacy program within the health facility, Mr. Speaker. In fact, if they recommend this and if they implement this, Mr. Speaker, these issues of negligence cannot be coming up every now and then, Mr. Speaker. This will also assist the family to navigate the complaints and grievances related to the medical care, Mr. Speaker. Mr. Speaker, I can remember yesterday in the prayer breakfast, Mr. Speaker, that we need to confess. If we confess, Mr. Speaker, what we have done, that is the doctors and KMDBU and the hospital must confess so that we did sins, so that they can repent. And if you cannot confess and accept your negligence, Mr. Speaker, you cannot be forgiven, Mr. Speaker. Mr. Speaker, in the case of, Mr. Speaker, we have so many questions on the side of these reports to remove, when it comes to the removal of these foreign bodies from the Anita. Mr. Speaker, the eyebrow question is, what is our incompetency of our doctors, which are currently? What is also the reliability, the value, as also I've raised, the value of our education system, Mr. Speaker, when it comes to the ethical of handling the patient, Mr. Speaker. Mr. Speaker, we need also, for the implementation, Mr. Speaker, we realized that we dealt with almost 5 of the negligence and we tabled the reports on the implementation, Mr. Speaker. When it comes to follow-up, it will be made very difficult by the committee. Mr. Speaker, I urge the House to have an implementing committee to follow up. Mr. Speaker, I am saying that when we table the reports, because of the workload of the committees handling statements and many other things, and again also we have committed ourselves that we do networking to do county visits. Mr. Speaker, going back to the recommendation and follow up and to see if the implementation has been done, it will be delayance to the Mr. Speaker, to the practitioner, to the petitioners. Mr. Speaker, I urge that there must be also an implementing committees to follow up the recommendation, Mr. Speaker. There are so many reports which has been tabled to this Honorable House, which is supposed to be implemented, Mr. Speaker. And all committees are committed and overloaded with the work. So we urge that that is my humble request, to have a committee of implementation. Mr. Speaker, with that all remarks, I support the report. Thank you, Mr. Speaker.
Okay, Senator Okongo Mogeni.
Yeah. Yes, Mr. Speaker, this is one of those sad cases that ever land on the floor of the House. When you listen to the horrendous story of this young girl, 6-year-old Anita Jebkorir, you feel for her, you feel for the parents. When you go to a hospital, especially a hospital of repute like Moi Teaching Referral Hospital, you expect nothing but to receive the best professional care you can ever receive. So I first want to really pass my condolences to the mother and the other family members of this young girl who lost her life in circumstances that, even though I'm not a doctor, should not have led to a loss of life. But as it were, it happened, and the best we can do is to say our condolences to the family and thank the committee for what they have done, at least to give some little comfort to the family, if not for anything else, but to demonstrate that the Senate of the Republic of Kenya cares, and that we have gone to the root of this matter just to see what may have gone wrong. I also want to believe that whatever may have happened, Dr. Stephen Ondigo did all that he could to try and save the life of this young girl. So I really hope that the recommendations that the committee has put forth will be followed by Moi Teaching and Referral Hospital, so that in future, Mr. Speaker, we don't witness loss of life. Because I've gone through the report, Mr. Speaker, and at some stage, the negligence is attributed to the fact that lead consultants were not called in to assist the team of doctors that were trying to save this young girl. Mr. Speaker, this hospital serves a big catchment area, including the catchment of Nyamira. We have many of our patients who get referrals to Moi Teaching and Referral Hospital. So I really hope that this is kind of a wake-up call to the hospital to try and up the game and give the best professional care it can. Having said that, Mr. Speaker, there are a few observations I want to make. I've read, Mr. Speaker, that the committee is recommending that the family should mediate with the hospital so that there is compensation and restitution. Mr. Speaker, if you have read through the report, the committee is saying that there was even an attempt by KMPDU to sabotage the commencement of investigations. In fact, Mr. Speaker, a very adverse recommendation has been made that administrative and disciplinary action should be taken to some professionals in the legal department. Now, I'm wondering, when you compare the positions of the two parties, one is from a very weak bargaining point. The other one, you want to inform me? if the Speaker allows you. The other one, I have no problem.
Actually, the Speaker has no issue with the information.
Okay,
It is
you
you
can
to allow to accept the.
This is a
to be
solemn
informed.
matter, and I hope you will inform me on a serious,
Go ahead,
serious
Senator Chelagay.
issues.
Mr. Speaker, I heard the senior counsel talking about KMPDU. As under Section 20 on medical dentists and practicing union, the people who listen to the disciplinary measures are Kenya Medical Practicing and Dentist Council. The other one union is the union. So that is the information I want just to share with the sovereign of Nyamira County.
Thank you for that information. Though you have quoted me out of context. The problem I have is, if I got the recommendations of the committee rightly, they are recommending that the family should engage in mediation with the Moi Teaching and Referral Hospital. And the chairman is in the room. If I have read the report wrongly, you can correct me. So I don't know, Mr. Speaker, why didn't we come out clearly and say that the hospital is to blame, we hold it liable, and we make a recommendation that they should proceed to compensate the family, failure of which the family should move to court. Because I know we have a limitation of how far we can go, but to say that this poor mother should go back to Moi Teaching and Referral, and then you tell them to mediate, I think we are putting somebody on a very weak standing to negotiate with a heavyweight. So I would have loved a situation where the committee would have come out much more strongly as in making recommendations on restitution and compensation to the Moi Teaching Referral Hospital, and also give leeway to this poor lady to proceed and seek compensation from a court of law, just in the event that the hospital does not pay. Also, I hope, Mr. Speaker, that this gives us an opportunity, Senator Chelagay is in the room, so that we can amend the Medical Practitioners and Dentists Act. You know, I've read, Mr. Speaker, the recommendations are very punitive against the doctor and against the hospital. But there is no compensation that that body can give direct to the victim. Mr. Speaker, as a lawyer, you know that under the disciplinary processes of the Law Society of Kenya, when you lodge a complaint, the committee can pass a judgment against you. It can order restitution as a body. So I hope the committee should have gone further and propose amendments to this act, so that when you find an hospital negligent, you will also move and order for compensation or restitution. Because what's going to happen, Mr. Speaker, is that this poor lady will be forced to, again, look for services of a lawyer and go to court. You know how long cases can drag in court before she is compensated. It should be a one-stop shop. You find the doctor, find the institution, and then order restitution for the victim. Two, Mr. Speaker, I've read the report, and it seems that all that KMPDU can order is just to fine you. You know, Mr. Speaker, for us lawyers, if I'm taken to the Disciplinary Committee of Law Society of Kenya, it could mean me losing my license, or it could mean that I'm struck off the roll and I'll never practice in any court of law for the entire of my life. I mean, so feared is that process, Mr. Speaker, that when you get a summon from the Disciplinary Committee of Law Society of Kenya, you take it seriously. But it seems with the doctor, and I have nothing with the doctors, they take care of us every day. But if at all, there are a few of them who are rotten within the profession, I would propose that the committee looks on the provisions in the Act and maybe make a proposal to amend the law to make it more punitive to those who may be culprits. Thirdly, Mr. Speaker, times taken for investigations, Mr. Speaker. The committee has taken issue with the duration that it took to take up this matter, commence investigations. In fact, some officers within the legal department, I hope they were not lawyers, tried to block the investigations. Maybe this is a wake-up call that we need to provide timelines. If somebody files a complaint with this body, they should look into the matter and close it as quickly as possible. You know, somebody has died. You don't want to keep the matter pending there for eternity, so that the matter is resolved quickly, and then there is closure. This will not make me very popular with the doctors, but I hope we can find somebody like an ombudsman. You know, the best way to regulate within the profession is to have self-regulating mechanisms, where if you have a complaint against your fellow colleagues, it's your peers who should actually pass a verdict on you. Mr. Speaker, you saw yesterday a speech by, I think, a deputy registrar of the judiciary, writing to the senior bar, you know, drawing the attention to the senior bar of the Law Society of Kenya on issues they have against a certain member of society, and also writing to the Law Society of Kenya, asking them to look into the conduct of a certain lawyer. I may not pass any verdict here, but what I'm saying is that it shows you that the disciplinary mechanism within the Law Society of Kenya acknowledges that the best way to deal with any negligence or professional misconduct within a profession is to involve members of that profession themselves. So let us strengthen the mechanism that is there for the doctors, allow them to be in charge of the process, but make it friendly to the consumers of the services, who are we, the citizens. Then, Mr. Speaker, this thing we call continuous quality improvement for doctors. Chairman of Health Committee, I saw you mentioned, but you know, for lawyers, unless I've logged in up to 5 units, now I'm lucky as a senator, I don't need to attain the units. But you know, Mr. Speaker, in the legal profession, unless in that year, let's say 2025, if you don't attain 5 CPD, continuous professional development units, your license will not be renewed in the following year. So you must ensure that you attend some trainings in that particular year, log in up to 5 units, then you will be eligible for renewal of your license the next year. Here you have just mentioned that this program for continuous quality improvement for doctors should be run efficiently. But I thought we should be more firm and say that the doctors should come up with a mechanism where they ensure that their doctors every year they attend trainings that should be a prerequisite for their license in the following year. Finally, Mr. Speaker, I really hope that our governors in our counties can improve facilities. You can see, Mr. Speaker, that if you run through this report, though it is fairly soft in terms of the equipping of our hospitals, you can see that the committee is drawing it to attention that maybe if Moi Teaching Referral Hospital had better facilities, we may not have lost this life. Now you can imagine, this is a county where people from Nandi, Uasin Gishu, can reach the hospital in a year. Within an hour. Now, Mr. Speaker, imagine a referral from Nyamira to Moi, because the closest we have been having of a referral hospital for that region is Moi. Now, because of broad-based, I'm told Jaramogi Oginga Odinga is also going to be a referral, Mr. Speaker. we have been pitching for Kisii Teaching Referral Hospital to also get an upgrade, Mr. Speaker, so that if you have cases like this, we don't have to travel all the way to Eldoret, all the way.
Senator Kongo Mugeni, there is a point of order from Senator Mandago.
Senator?
Honorable Speaker, actually I wanted to say point of information. Jaramogi Oginga Odinga Referral Hospital is not being upgraded because of broad-based, but they actually made an application, and this committee, after visiting Kisumu County, Vihiga County, and Siaya, Honorable Speaker, plus Kisii, we recommended on the motion of the county government of Kisumu. I would urge the Senator for Nyamira to ask the governor for Kisii and Nyamira to actually make an application so that Kisii can also be upgraded to a national referral hospital. And I agree with Senator Mogeni. Kisii should be upgraded to a national referral facility. Thank you, Honorable Speaker.
Okay, Senator Mogeni.
Yeah, thank you, Mr. Speaker. That's good information from Senator Mandago, but he's not also well informed on the happenings. Mr. Speaker, the Kisii County government made this request ahead of Jaramogi Oginga Odinga. I was with the chair of health as a member of the committee when that request was made in Kisumu. But somehow, Mr. Speaker, we have been bypassed. I just saw the other day that Jaramogi Oginga Odinga has been given those status, and Kisii region has been left behind. I hope, Mr. Speaker, I want to plead with my brothers who are in leadership from the Gusii region, Honorable Osoro, Honorable Japheth, there is Jair Zianda, who is very close to the president. Mr. Speaker, they should also know how to talk these things. You know, my good friend, Party Leader Baba, knows how to talk. When they come with the president, we had the president in Kisii the other day in December, Mr. Speaker. They did not raise these issues, Mr. Speaker. I want to urge my brothers from the Kisii region to also know that as a leader, the best you can do is to pitch for some of these things to happen to your region. They are allowing Baba to go ahead of us, Mr. Speaker, because Baba knows when a president comes to your place, you put development ahead. Mr. Speaker, at times you can be mesmerized with a chopper. I think my colleagues from Kisii, they get into choppers and then they forget. You know, the people will benefit most.
As a majority leader, it is your point of order.
Mr. Speaker, the Speaker earlier today gave a very strict communication on adherence to our standing orders. And he read for us standing order number, I think it was 111, if I'm not wrong. 101, actually, 101, Mr. Speaker, which includes discussing the conduct of state officers in the absence of a substantive motion. Senator Mogeni, my good friend and neighbor from Nyamira, wants to discuss the conduct of our colleagues from the National Assembly, including making remarks that, in my opinion, are actually disparaging them when you say they get mesmerized by choppers. But I will recall, Mr. Speaker, that in the days of the handshake, Senator Omogeni had close proximity to power, perhaps even closer than what Akina Japheth and Osoro have, Mr. Speaker. Why didn't he do what he's asking them to do now during the days of the handshake, Mr. Speaker? Especially knowing that his friend was very powerful, a man that he knows. He was the one in chairing cabinet committees. Therefore, I think before criticizing Osoro and company, you should first apologize to the Omogusi nation and say that, don't be like me. I forgot last time. Do better than myself. Then, Mr. Speaker, maybe we can have a conversation.
Yes,
Senator Speaker, Senator Jeriot should not
there is another point of order from Senator Chalgi.
Mr. Speaker, I rise as per standing order 101 on the Senate standing orders on the content of speech. If Honorable Senator Senior Counsel Okongo Mugeni want to discuss the role of members of parliament from Omugusi, he knows that he should come with a substantive motion. And even if it was a fair comment, Mr. Speaker, he has made it in bad faith. Even if it was a fair comment by saying they are being mesmerized by a chopper or helicopters, Mr. Speaker. Is it fair to the members of parliament? And we know very well that...
That's the same point of order that was raised by the majority leader.
Yes, I just want to finish, Speaker, just 30 seconds. So is it, and also is it fair, Mr. Speaker, on accuracy of fact, that to get development in this country, it should be behaved like handouts where you go and pitch? I thought he knows as a member of parliament, he's the one doing budget. Has he done budget under the budgeting process to allocate money of upgrading of Kisii referral, teaching and referral hospital? Because no one else will get the resources to build an hospital.
Senator Elek Momugeni, can you conclude?
Yes, first,
You
Mr.
are now on
Speaker,
the end.
First, I want to correct Senator Chiragei. I don't do budget. You know this house, Mr. Speaker, all I do is to give money to the county of Nyamira. So you should know, like as a lawyer, that this house has got no mandate to make budgets. True, Mr. Speaker. Senator Cheriot knows. I've always been a member of opposition, Mr. Speaker. I've never been in government. But I'm telling my colleagues, and I'm doing this in good faith. I'm telling my colleagues, Honorable Soro, Honorable Japheth, to borrow notes from my party leader, Raila Amolo Odinga, so that, Mr. Speaker, when you bring a leader to your region, you should, before you come, ask yourself also, what can I do to ensure that my people are benefiting, Mr. Speaker? And that's why we're here. We should not make this like a morning house. We are here, Mr. Speaker, to challenge each other for the benefit of our people, Mr. Speaker. And I'm sure, Mr. Speaker, the people of Kisii who are listening to me, if I go to Kisii, to Suneka tomorrow, I'll be given free bananas because I'm saying the right thing. That hospital, Mr. Speaker, needs to be upgraded to be a referral hospital. And that obligation is on the leaders. In fact, me, I'm from the neighboring county. The people who should be in the forefront in pushing for that agenda should be Honorable Osoro, Honorable Japheth, Honorable Jaira Zianda, Honorable Alpha Miruka. Me, I'm just stepping in, Mr. Speaker, as a senior counsel to advise. I don't think, Mr. Speaker, any of those leaders will take offense. In fact, when I leave here, Mr. Speaker, they will thank me for reminding them. I have no ill feelings, Mr. Speaker, but we want to see results, Mr. Speaker, because every time they come to Kisii, they tell us, now we are in government, we are going to milk this cow. The best way to milk that cow is to show results to the people of Kisii, Mr. Speaker. That's what we want, Mr. Speaker, to see from our leaders from Kisii region. Why should we be traveling all the way to Moi Teaching Referral Hospital, Mr. Speaker? Why? And we have, Osoro is our whip. He can whip members of National Assembly to put enough budget to upgrade that hospital, Mr. Speaker. Japheth Nyakundi is the treasurer of UDA, a very senior position, Mr. Speaker. He sits in the Committee of Budget, Mr. Speaker. So,
his time is over. He has no more airtime, so I think... you know, it is rare for the chair to give me comments when I'm chairing, but a chair can advise. Senator, my good friend, Senator Kongo Mugeni, if you know the president is in your region, for example, and if you see him, you'll ask him to make Kisii a level 6 hospital. If you love your people, why don't you go and ask him to... Your Excellency, I've just come to ask you to give Kisii level 6 status hospital, and you go away. Why don't you do that? Because that is not being a partisan. Yeah. Now let's go to Senator Dansan Mungatana.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker. Mr. Speaker, I want first of all...
Okay, just a minute, Senator Mungatana.
Yes.
Oh, sorry. I will give the communication, but let me hear what the majority didn't want to say. Within 1 minute, kindly. And I request the school not to leave the...
Senator Omogeni evaded everything that I asked him. Because in his logic, he said, first he has denied that he was never a prominent member of the handshake government, something that we know very well here. Because I know how powerful he was. But then, if that is a logic, I wanted to ask him, the chairperson of the cabinet subcommittee, the most powerful organ, Mr. Speaker, in the last administration, was a son of the Omogusi nation. a man that Senator Mogeni is now mesmerized about and says he wants to bring goodies home. Using the same logic that you want Japhet Nyakundi and Akina Osoro to apply, why was it difficult for him not to do it at that particular time, Mr. Speaker? That's a question I'd asked him, but since he has chosen not to respond, I will let it slide.
Just leave it. Senator Amboni, what clarification from who? From Senator Okongo Mugeni? And he's not on the floor.
No, clarification from the chair. Clarification from the chair, not Omugeni. Waja kaya na madeni yake. Mr. Speaker, I would like you to clarify. I think I've lost you. I thought the highest platform of speaking to the state, speaking to the president, is Parliament. Why would you expect him to go back to some rally in the village?
Senator Mbone, you know you have just come in. You don't know the genesis of his, where we have come from. We have just come in. So first consult the answer. Because what Senator Mugeni said, honourable members, what he said is that the president was in Kisii region a few months ago, and the leaders were there, and they could not request from that rally or that meeting. So that is why I was asking, why didn't he just walk to that meeting and request on behalf of the Kisii community? Can you apologize? Then we proceed.
Mr. Speaker, I apologize for what?
No, let us proceed. You know, this afternoon we are a bit easy so that we can get some good business here. There is a communication on visiting teachers and students from Taito KTGA, Nandi Hills Secondary School in Nandi County. I would like to, honorable senators, I would like to acknowledge the presence in the public gallery this afternoon of visiting teachers and students from Taito KTGA, Nandi Hills Secondary School in Nandi County. The delegation comprises of 7 teachers and 153 students who are in the Senate for a one-day academic exposition. Honorable senators, in our issued tradition of receiving and welcoming visitors to Parliament, I extend a warm welcome to them, and on behalf of the Senate and on my own behalf, wish them a fruitful visit. Thank you. Senator Chalge, is it maybe under 1 minute?
Mr. Speaker, I want to join you and my colleagues to welcome wonderful schools, one of the best performing schools in Nandi sub-county, Taito KTGA Secondary School in Nandi constituency in Nandi County. I'm told they are here on one-day learning experience. I'm happy that they have watched the real debate. I know sometimes they do pseudo debate, Mr. Speaker. Mr. Speaker, coincidentally, this is the school my late uncle, Kiryongi, Principal Kiryongi, taught until he passed on. So we have a special attachment to this school as a family, because this is where my uncle taught for very long. And I want to wish them all the best as you go back to the school, continue working hard. This, in the near future, you'll be the leaders of this house. You'll be the senators, governors, and I hope the visiting of this place, Mr. Speaker, in conclusion, will inspire them to be better leaders than all of us. And wish them safe journey home. And God bless you, and say hi to your parents and teachers. And tell them I'm working hard. I'm going for bigger things in future. Thank you.
And maybe you have noted the numbers, 153. That's a very serious school. That can fill 153 students to the Senate. Senator Mugatana,
Thank you, Mr. Speaker. Mr. Speaker, first I want to take this opportunity to thank the chair of the Health Committee of the Senate, the Honorable Senator Mandago, together with his team, for the great work they have done in dealing with this matter that was very, very, very emotional to all of us. Mr. Speaker, I want to agree with the recommendation in support of this motion. Mr. Speaker, the one thing that has struck me about the death of Anita Jepkorir, first, before I proceed, I would want to give my heartfelt condolences to the family for losing their child at such a tender age. Mr. Speaker, the first thing I wanted to say that struck me is the fact that the hospital system in Moi referral did not have psychological support for the patient and the family during their suffering and their tribulations. Mr. Speaker, the doctors are on this line, but there's nobody to support the family, nobody to support the relatives who are affected directly by decisions that you have to make at the theater and at the hospital. Mr. Speaker, something needs to be done, and I hope Honorable Senator, Chair for the committee will look into this. Something needs to be done about how patients are treated in hospitals. Something needs to be done about how people are handled, especially when emergency exists. Mr. Speaker, even myself, and I know I'm speaking for many Kenyans, when you have taken your loved one to the hospital and there's no explanation that is given to you, but you are desperate for a solution, and somebody is telling you, I think we have reached a point where you need to sign here. When you ask, you are told it's a consent form. You are not told anything about what the details of that surgery is supposed to be, what are the effects, what are the possible side effects, what can happen, what may not happen. All you are told is sign here because you are the person who has come with this patient, so that we can have the consent to operate. Mr. Speaker, no explanation is given to Kenyans that you need to know this can happen, this can go wrong, this can go right. All the time, and it's repeated, and I'm sure even as I'm talking to you now, Mr. Speaker, somebody is rushing into an emergency room. There is nobody at the reception to explain to them what are the possibilities of this surgery. They're just told, sign here, and then a surgery takes place. And Mr. Speaker, I wish that the country would adapt other types of medical procedures where patients are explained to what is supposed to happen to them in detail. And this is not supposed to be done by a doctor. All these surgeons, Mr. Speaker, most of them are very tired people. Some of them stand for as long as 5, 6, 7 hours performing surgeries. And the only thing they have is tiredness. And then the same person is supposed to explain to a distraught relative that, you know, we have lost your patient. In fact, they don't say he has died. They say we have lost them. Like something that just went away. Mr. Speaker, when somebody has died, there's need for a way to handle people in hospital. That is why we are saying this Anita Jepkorir should be an opportunity for us, should be an opportunity for the Ministry of Health to give guidance on what ought to happen when we lose a child, when we lose a person through medical procedure. Mr. Speaker, some of the patients are people who have been in the hospital for a long time. So maybe you have reasonable expectation that it could go either way. But some of the people, they walk into hospital fine. And then you are told, no, you have lost your relative. So, Mr. Speaker, there's need for serious support systems within all our hospitals, including our public and private hospitals. I think the ministry needs to give guidance and regulations, and this should be named the Anita Jepkorir guidelines to hospitals in terms of managing situations, managing the psychological side of how we should treat patients and their relatives. Mr. Speaker, I remember many years ago when people were very afraid of being diagnosed with HIV, because at that time, if you are told you have HIV, then it was like a death sentence. And what used to happen, and I still think it still happens nowadays, to date, people are told, before we take the HIV test, we need to take you for counseling. And it's a standard guideline that was set up by the Ministry of Health. And now it is normalized. It is very normal that before you do your test for HIV, you are told, we need to give you some counseling. And if you don't need it because maybe you know you can reasonably suspect your status, you tell them, no, I don't need to go through the counseling. I can take my test and go home. Madam Speaker, there need to be now Anita Jepkorir guidelines on how to handle patients within public hospitals, within private hospitals. It's not just the doctors. The doctors should be the last people who should come to meet the patients when they have lost their loved ones, when they have to make difficult decisions. There's got to be someone who is trained in counseling, somebody trained in psychology, who can sit with the patients and advise them before they make decision on whether this person needs to take the surgery or not. And if the surgery has been acceded to and something has gone wrong, there need to be the Anita Jepkorir guidelines in all public hospitals, in all private hospitals in Kenya, that will be telling the doctors and the hospital management that when somebody has lost someone, the relatives must be taken through a certain process. It must not be doctors who just come out and say, we have lost someone. Mr. Speaker, that is a specialty, and most doctors are not trained in that specialty. Most doctors are not taken to, they just take the Hippocrates oath. They preserve life, and they do their best. When their best doesn't work, they just tell you, we have lost the life, we have lost. We had hoped for this and this, but this has gone. And they leave you crushed when you are just right there in the hospital. And they don't know how to handle. Mr. Speaker, I still remember the time I was very early in the morning, and we had a bad situation about my late wife, my first wife. Mr. Speaker, nobody explained anything to me right there in the theater. And it was a good hospital. Nobody handles your psychology. Nobody tells you what you need to do, what you need. In fact, Mr. Speaker, as soon as we saw that there is multiple organ failure, the thing they did in that theater is to light up, and then they put some music that is heavenly, about heaven being our home, this earth is not our home, and so on. And I felt like it's so premeditated. They don't know what you're going through. They just put on music, and they tell you, this world is not your home. Who told you I wanted to go home at that time? Mr. Speaker, who told you that we as a relatives wanted to let go of that person at that time? And then, Mr. Speaker, you are a relative. You don't know now how to face your children and tell them that actually mom is not going to come back. And they were going to hospital every evening to go and check. And Mr. Speaker, there is no, and this is a very good hospital, Mr. Speaker. There's no counseling procedures. There's nobody who tells you how to handle yourself. So, Mr. Speaker, although in our family we have, people in this medicine, and I have my younger brother is a very serious doctor of many years and many standing. I still feel that the ministry needs to come up with the Anita Jepkorir guidelines, because the parents here suffered serious psychological problems, serious, when they lost their child and nobody was there talking to them. When they were struggling to find what they can do, nobody was helping them. Nobody was there to advise them. There ought to be a desk, Mr. Speaker, in every hospital in this country, from Tana River all the way to Nairobi, that says, here is how you lodge a complaint. If you feel a nurse has mishandled you, if you feel a doctor has mishandled you, if you feel a clinical officer has mishandled you. In the entire country, there is nothing like that. The boxes that are there across the country in all ministries is to tell you, if you have a problem with corruption, put your complaint here anonymously. Those are the things that are there. But hospitals, Madam Speaker, there are so many people who suffer negligence. Some are told, and you have maybe a very serious emergency. Your wife wants to give birth, and you're in a public hospital, and you are desperate, and you are being told, if you don't want to bring this and that, take your patient back home and help her yourself, you know? And people have suffered in this country. Mr. Speaker, I hope the recommendations will also include calling the current Minister of Health to come up with the Anita Jepkorir guidelines. And currently, the Minister for Health is a very proactive minister. He has been with us in the National Assembly Sister House. And he's very proactive. We sat with him in the committee today when he came before the Delegated Legislation Committee. And he told us he has been able to sit down with Aga Khan Hospital and negotiate that now kidney transport from from the beginning, 0 step, all the way to post-care will only cost 700,000, which will be covered by SHA. You don't need to pay millions of shillings in hospitals. Now, our women are going to be paying 40,000 for chemotherapy when they go for cancer treatment instead of the 140 per session. SHA was giving about 540 to cover for that, and they have several sessions. Now, if each session goes for 140, then they will not complete the sessions. Now, the minister was able to tell us that they have negotiated to 40,000 per session. So I'm saying we have a very proactive minister. It will not harm the committee to make a follow-up, and we don't lose what this report is all about. The Anita Jepkorir guidelines that will help Kenyans from all walks of life who go to hospitals and they have problems in those hospitals. Number one, to have psychological support. Number two, there must be, under these guidelines again, Anita Jepkorir guidelines to educate the people in all public hospitals and private hospitals how you can fill in forms if there are cases of professional negligence from any nurse, from any doctor. And every nurse and every doctor, they must have their work number, like the way the police have. Some of these hospitals, Madam Speaker, you walk in and you cannot tell who is dealing with you. You only know from the way they dress that this must be the doctor, this must be the nurse. They don't have tags on their clothing. And Madam Speaker, they don't have work numbers on their clothing. So this is a system that needs to be looked at. And I know our current minister has committed to working very hard on the side of mental wellness for the Kenyan population as a whole. And we must take this opportunity, and I urge the chair to follow on these Anita Jepkorir guidelines. These guidelines, Madam Speaker, if they are implemented, we will have a better way. Hospitals will have a better way to handle people who come as their clients. Madam Speaker, in places like my county, the doctors are few, the medical personnel are few. In all cadre, people are overworked, people are doing so much work. To expect the same tired surgeon, the same tired nurse who is doing maybe morning and evening shift, by the time they are having their break, they are so tired, to then come and explain to you, okay, this is how your father died, your cousin died, your uncle died, your auntie died, your grandfather. There must be a policy that says there are special people within the hospital to listen to complaints and to handle complaints, to guide the population in a place as far as Tana River, to be able to say, this is how you can take a medical negligence case. You file this case. This is how you can take a case against a nurse. You file it this way. You do it this way. There must be a desk, Madam Speaker. If we have desks in the police centers where people are dealing with women issues, complaints, GBV, why not have desks within the hospitals that says this person is specifically to talk to patients and explain to them? If you want now details, is when now you are referred to the doctor who performed the surgery. Madam Speaker, many years ago, when we were in university, we had a huge problem there, and one of the girls called Stella Awinja passed away. When the University of Nairobi put up a building, they called it Stella Awinja in memory of that girl. Now, in this one, we are saying, let us create guidelines called Anita Jepkorir guidelines. And if the committee is listening, please write to the minister. I know the minister is proactive. If you won't do it, I'll do it, because I know he will listen. And this report, I know if it lands in his desk and you tell him to work on it, I know Honorable Duale will work on it, because we need to have a change. And also the director of medical services is not a very old person. He has been there now, I think it's maybe 1 year, if at most. So people who are new in ministry, they bring a lot of vigor. They want to make a mark. They want to make changes. And I think we have the right atmosphere to create the Anita Jepkorir guidelines to help patients to manage the results of whatever happens in the hospitals, and also to be able to file complaints to the medical bodies. Madam Speaker, with those many remarks, I beg to support this report. Thank you.
Thank you, Senator Danson Mungatana. And sorry once again for the loss of your first wife, Mrs. Violet Wairimu Mungatana, whose mom also comes from my village. May she continue resting in peace. Senator Madago Jackson. Sorry, Senator Joyce Chepkoech.
Asante sana Mheshimiwa Spika kwa kunipa nafasi hii pia kuchangia ripoti ya kamiti ya afya. Nikisema pongezi sana kwa kamiti kwa kazi nzuri ambayo wamefanya. Tukiongozwa na Mheshimiwa Mandago ambaye amekuwa governor la jimbo la Ukatuzi, na ningependa kusema anaielewa kwa undani kazi ya afya, kwa sababu hii ni moja ya ile kazi ambayo imepelekwa pale Ukatuzi. Ningependa kusema Mheshimiwa Spika ya kwamba watu wanapohudhuria hospitali wanaenda kwa sababu ya afya yao, na wako na haki ya kupewa matibabu inayofaa. Wako na haki kuangaliliwa shida zote kwa njia inayofaa na kutumia teknolojia inayofaa. Mheshimiwa Spika, sio haki kupoteza maisha. Na Chepkorir sio ni moja wa wale ambao wamepoteza maisha kwa njia isiyoeleweka. Ndiposa nimeamuka Mheshimiwa Spika kuweza kusema ya kwamba ni vizuri tuangalie changamoto ambayo tunapata kule mahospitali zetu za kaunti. Mheshimiwa Spika, tunajua changamoto kubwa ambayo tuko nayo ni uhaba ya madaktari, kuna madawa, kuna vifaa ambayo zinaweza kutusaidia kwa kuchunguza magonjwa mbalimbali. Na itakuwa ni kera kubwa sana wakati tunapoenda kutafuta matibabu na tunakoza ama tunaweza kupoteza maisha kwa njia isiyoeleweka. Mheshimiwa Spika, ningependa pia kuomba kamiti ya afya waweze kusunguka makaunti zetu wakiangalia huduma ambayo inatolewa pale mahospitali ambayo tuko nazo kule kaunti. Mheshimiwa Spika, juzi ama jana nimeshikwa na msiko sana kwa sababu ya mwanaume mmoja ambaye alikuwa amepepa mtoto kifuani akilia kwa ujungu pale Murang'a kwa sababu amekaa na mtoto siku nzima na hakupata kusaidiwa. Ndiposa ningependa kusema pia ni vizuri, kwa sababu tumeona mgomo kila mara, kamiti waweze kuangalia kama kutakuwa na migomo, ni lazima tutengeneze njia ili kusaidia watu wetu wanapokuja na wagonjwa, wajue mgonjwa ako mgonjwa kiasi gani, ili tuweze kuokoa maisha. Ilikuwa ni kero kubwa sana wakati unaona mtu ameshikilia mtoto ambaye amekufa, mtoto mdogo sana, mtoto mchanga ambaye alikuwa anajua ya kwamba atasaidika, na mtoto akafa mbele ya madaktari wakiangalia bila usaidizi wowote. Ningependa kusema kuungana na Mheshimiwa Mungatana ya kwamba tuwe na taratibu ya vile tunafanya kazi yetu. Kama kuna mahali ambayo unaweza kutoa maono yako ama kuripoti kesi yoyote ambayo unaona itoshi, ama wapatikane pale kwa hospitali watu wa kusaidia, hata kama wako kwa mgomo, ijulikane huyu mtoto ni mgonjwa sana na hatuwezi mtipu, wacha apelekwe kwa hospitali zingine, kuliko kumwangalia mtoto hadi mtoto apoteze maisha. Najua hii ripoti ya Chepkorir ilitoka mwanzo before ile imefanyika jana. Kuna zingine zimefanyika ambayo hata haijaweza kuwekwa kwa mtandao. Na ningependa kusema imefika kiwango ambayo tunafaa sisi kama kamiti ya Senate tuweze kuweka taratibu ya vile tunaweza fuatilia ili watu wetu waweze kusaidika. Mheshimiwa Spika, itakuwa ni maajabu sana. Tunatengeneza pesa, tunapitisha pesa hapa, inaenda kwa katuzi, inasemekana ni ya pesa ya mahospitali, na ufike pale hakuna hata madawa zile za kutuliza hata mauchungu. Mheshimiwa Spika, itakuwa ni aibu sana tukuwe na mahospitali ambaye madaktari nao hawalipi pesa kulingana na kazi yao. Ni lazima tuangalie upande zote mbili. Saa zingine tunaegemea upande wa madaktari tukisema ya kwamba wao wameachilia mtoto ama ameachilia mtu hadi akafa, na labda sisi wenyewe ama mahospitali ama viongozi ambao wanaongoza hizo counties hawajaleta vifaa ambazo zinaweza kusaidia madaktari ili watoe huduma zao, ama hawajaweza kulipwa pesa ambayo inawasaidia kuwapea motisha ili waendelee kutoa huduma yao. So ni lazima tuangalie, lazima tutilie maanani, ingawa hata kama hujalipwa vizuri, hakuna mtu ako na right ya kupoteza maisha ya binadamu. Hivyo basi, Mheshimiwa Spika, ningependa kusema maneno mengi ambayo yameandikwa na ripoti ya kwamba familia waweze kulipwa hiyo na kubaliana nayo, ingawa hata pesa yenye italipwa kwa hiyo familia itatoshana na uhai ya binadamu. Haitatoshana, Mheshimiwa Spika. Naona kamiti wamesema pia ripoti iletwe hapa bungeni vile wameweza kuwasiliana na familia. Pia bado haitatosha, Mheshimiwa Spika, kwa sababu washapoteza mtu yao. Lakini ni ile tu njia ambayo itatusaidia kuhakikisha ya kwamba kuna utaratibu katika makaunti zetu, Mheshimiwa Spika. So singependa kusema mengi, ningependa tu kusema ya kwamba wacha tuendelee kuangalia kwa undani mambo ambayo yanatukumba kama serikali za ukatuzi ili tuweze kushughulikia na kusaidia watu wetu wasiweze kupoteza maisha yao. Asanteni, Mheshimiwa Spika.
I now call upon the mover of this motion, Senator Madego, to reply.
Thank you very much, Madam Speaker. Madam Speaker, first let me take this opportunity to thank my colleagues who have made several comments on the recommendations and the contents of this report, Madam Speaker. And Madam Speaker, the contributions that have been made in the floor of the House have added value to this report, and want to acknowledge that, Madam Speaker, because of the nature of the investigation, there could have been a lot of other issues that could have been captured, but we are happy that the honorable senators here have been able to bring out those matters very clearly, Madam Speaker. Madam Speaker, I'm particularly pleased with the recommendation by Senator Mungatana on the sensitization of the public in terms of being given capacity to be able to report where they feel that services have not been adequately rendered, or there have been cases of negligence and the members of the public don't know exactly how to carry them forward, Madam Speaker. Madam Speaker, in our course of investigation and looking at this matter, Madam Speaker, there is a lot to be desired in the processes of some of our facilities. And I want to say that what my colleague, the non-practicing gynecologist, the senator for Kakamega, alluded to, that MTRH has standard protocols, then the question that begs to be answered, Madam Speaker, is how then could a whole national referral hospital with that kind of expertise and standard protocols fail to differentiate between a black seed and teat, Madam Speaker? Madam Speaker, how would it end up that an operation meant to remove a black seed ends up removing 3 teeth, the third one meant to cover up for the failure of the operation, Madam Speaker? And Madam Speaker, therefore, when we made the recommendation, we took into consideration all the processes that already have been undertaken by KMPDC and MTRH, Madam Speaker. And Madam Speaker, what we would like the medical professionals to understand and know is that because we are all human, and sometimes some of these mistakes or errors are committed not willfully, but just mistakes that happen in the course of duty, Madam Speaker, it is extremely important that they become candid, they engage the families, and the hospital takes up responsibility and use the mechanisms that have been provided for in the regulation of the profession under the Kenya Medical Practitioners and Dentists Council. Madam Speaker, it is also good to let my colleagues know that KMPDC, other than the fines that are imposed, there are other disciplinary measures that can also be taken, including the suspension or total cancellation of the license, Madam Speaker. Madam Speaker, all these procedures are in place. What we want to urge the Kenya Medical Dentists and Practitioner Council and all other regulating agencies for medical practitioners or health workers workforce, Madam Speaker, is to make sure that they have regular supervision, inspection, to assure the quality and the standards and the procedures that needs to be followed in all medical procedures, Madam Speaker. And Madam Speaker, I want to agree with my colleagues that we also make follow-up as a Committee for Health with the Cabinet Secretary for Health so that some of these matters can be averted. Madam Speaker, I was so saddened to see a mother carrying a child in an hospital where she had rushed to seek medical treatment, only for the doctors to ignore until we lost the child in the hands of the mother, Madam Speaker. I think it should also be made known to the public that even in an event where medical workers are on strike, the law requires that they maintain a certain minimum workforce to address the emergencies that arise, Madam Speaker, in those facilities. And I therefore want to assure the Senator Joyce Korir and the other colleagues that as a committee, we are going to look into that matter with a view of taking action on the workforce, the minimum workforce that was supposed to be at work in that facility, Madam Speaker, to avert losses of life, even as the doctors and the medical workers seek justice for their fair compensation in the work they do, Madam Speaker. And Madam Speaker, health workers, even as they push for fair compensation for the work they do, they must also remain true to their oath, to the oath they took, Madam Speaker, in their practice, so that we don't lose lives and we make sure that work continues even as we see compensation. And I also want to say and let the medical workers know that the Senate Committee of Health, together with the National Assembly Committee of Health, Madam Speaker, have had serious engagements on looking at the issues that touch on the human resource for health, Madam Speaker. And Madam Speaker, this government is very proactive in terms of addressing all those welfare issues. Madam Speaker, you realize we had a problem with interns doctors. That matter now has been resolved. And all the other matters will be resolved progressively, Madam Speaker. And we also want to seek the indulgence of the medical workers, that they also become patient with government even as we address, and not to congest the system with so many demands every other day, but allow the processes to be concluded for each and every activity. This was a very unfortunate incident that should not occur again, Madam Speaker. And Madam Speaker, in our recommendation for compensation of the family, Madam Speaker, we made it very clear that there is culpability in the part of MTRH and that of the doctors that were responsible, Madam Speaker, during the operation. We've also noted, Madam Speaker, that all facilities in this country are required to have a medical cover that indemnifies the workers, Madam Speaker. In an event we have such incidences, the insurance should be able to compensate. And we know there are so many Kenyans who have lost their lives through such processes, Madam Speaker, and they have not been compensated, while the hospitals have also paid for the medical insurance. And therefore, there are insurance companies that are profiting without the insurance actually being functional. With that, Madam Speaker, I wish to request, pursuant to Standing Order 66.3, I request that you defer the putting of the question to a later date, Madam Speaker. I thank you.
Thank you, Honourable Senator. The putting of question is deferred to a later session when the Senate will be quoried to be able to handle the question. We now reorganize the order paper, and I will ask the clerk to call out order number 20.
Order number 20, the Business Laws Amendment Bill, Senate Bills number 51 of 2024, second reading.
Majority Leader, Senator Arun Cheriot, Senator Kericho County. You may take the floor.
Thank you. Thank you, Madam Speaker. Madam Speaker, I want to appreciate the opportunity to do this. Madam Speaker, I beg to move that the Business Laws Amendment Bill, Senate Bill number 51 of 2025, be now read a second time. I have moved many bills in this House, Madam Speaker, but none may prove to be as consequential as this particular bill, Madam Speaker, in light of the challenges that this country continues to face today. Madam Speaker, we speak so often about the debt distress that Kenya finds itself in and the need to live within our means. But, Madam Speaker, one of the challenges that we have is that we can talk about reduction of the fiscal deficit. We can ensure, Madam Speaker, that we are compliant, grow the tax to GDP ratio. But one of the conversations we don't have, which is the one silver bullet that can resolve all these challenges that we continue to talk about as a country, is how to grow the national cake, Madam Speaker. How to ensure that there is significant growth in every sector of the economy to a point, Madam Speaker, that there will be sufficient for everybody to share. The answer to our debt problem is a grown economy, Madam Speaker, that will support repayment without clouding out other development programs, Madam Speaker. The answer, Madam Speaker, to the high taxation that many members of the public continue to complain about is because we are over-reliant on a very small population, Madam Speaker, while the significant part of this country, perhaps maybe 70, or I don't know what the exact figures will be, perhaps I may need to check, is that there is a very small population that carries a huger part of the tax burden in the country. And therefore, we must continue to think and find ways in which we are going to grow the national cake, Madam Speaker, to make our country more competitive. The World Bank did release a report this week, and I don't know how many people found time to follow that particular discussion. And this is part of the advice that they give to Kenya, that for Kenya to regain its competitiveness, we need to make amendments, Madam Speaker, to ensure that where we have lost sight of growing, Madam Speaker, the various sectors of our economy, we refocus and repurpose and make this country a fit for purpose for the 21st century, Madam Speaker, of an economy such as the one that we run. Madam Speaker, it will be important to note that while there is good progress and growth to be reported, real growth, Madam Speaker, is yet to be measured and realized. It will only be measured and realized, Madam Speaker, when the ordinary person begin to appreciate the interventions that are being made and see a direct correlation between the policies that are being made and their life. It is until, Madam Speaker, we are able to come up with sound policies to grow our tourism numbers to a point that the communities that grow around the tourism circuits, those in the coastal areas, those in the places that have wildlife sanctuaries, Madam Speaker, are able to see significant number of tourists to a point that business bounces back to the levels that actually have never been seen before, not even to what was there previously, because I don't think that's accurate, Madam Speaker, given the fact that we know we are now actually in upwards of 2 million and above. But if we are able to grow that even by 50%, Madam Speaker, to make it 3 million, then believe you me, you know, the game drivers, Madam Speaker, the women that operate the tuck shops next to the wildlife sanctuaries and so on and so forth, those that work in the hotel sector, those that provide food to those particular entities will be able to appreciate. If you think about FDI, which is now our coffee and tea of the 80s and the 90s, it's the largest export, Madam Speaker, human beings actually, citizens that go out of the country to work in the different parts of the world to do either formal or some even informal jobs, Madam Speaker, and send back to the country lots of resources and are earning now more than our horticulture. You know, back in the day, that was our premium possession as a country. But now we appreciate that with interventions such as the Kazi Maju program and the promotion of the diaspora, Ministry of Diaspora, Madam Speaker, we have Kenyans sending in excess of $1 billion back to this economy, Madam Speaker. People that are building, they are setting up businesses, they are doing this or the other, Madam Speaker. If we are able to come up with the policies that will ensure that we will grow that by an additional 100% so that we make it $2 billion instead of one, Madam Speaker, that is real growth that will be realized, because that is money that has come back to this economy. If it's on exports of the horticulture, Madam Speaker, ways and policies to ensure that we earn more for our farmers, be it in the beef sector, tea, coffee, Madam Speaker, to make sure that we have progressively made policies that ensure that our farmers earn better than what they already earn, Madam Speaker. Instead of tea returning back to us upwards of $1 billion only, to make it return 2 to 3. And it is possible because, Madam Speaker, that is the intervention that we seek. Therefore, that is just to lay basis of what this particular Business Laws Amendment Bill seeks to do, Madam Speaker. It's an amendment of various provisions of different statutes and laws in our country to make Kenya globally competitive and ensure that we conform to the global standards. What other countries, the so-called Asian tigers, for example, Madam Speaker, that have been able to grow progressively and faster than us over the last couple of decades, yet maybe at the time of independence, we were at the same level. It's because they were intentional, they made certain sacrifices as a country, Madam Speaker, to ensure that they became competitive. That is what we seek. This is in response to what the business community is telling us. And I must appreciate, because there are not many laws that we pass in this House that are actually from the private sector, Madam Speaker, that are actually from the people that can help us grow the economy in this country. We just imagine that government needs to do this. Many of the laws that we pass here are about regulating this and the other, making sure that, oh, somebody doesn't do this, they don't do the other thing. That is not what will take us to the next level, Madam Speaker. What will make us competitive as a country is if we realize what is it that we can do to make our private sector players competitive and compete with other players from different parts of the world, Madam Speaker, and earn for this country, even reduce. Think about it, Madam Speaker. We spend as a country close to 500 billion Kenya shillings importing food alone. Wheat, sugar, rice, cooking oil. Madam Speaker, it is not rocket science what the countries that we import from. Pakistan for the rice, Malaysia for the edible oil, Russia, Ukraine, and these parts of the world for their wheat, Madam Speaker. It's because they have listened to their private sector. They have taken time to understand what is it that if they did to their private sector, they will become more competitive and ensure that they produce sufficient for their own country of origin and enough even to export to other countries. And we must make those interventions. I'm particularly appreciative, Madam Speaker, of interventions that have been made in certain sectors. For example, the sugar subsector, that we have read reports that for the first time, in the next perhaps maybe a year or two, Kenya can actually move from being a near net importer of sugar to an exporter like Uganda, Madam Speaker, because of the privatization in that particular sector, Madam Speaker, and ensuring that local farmers are encouraged to grow more, because now they have mills that are working and can pay them, and not just pay them, timely payment within 7 days. There is no other crop in the country. For tea, you have to wait for 30 days, Madam Speaker. For coffee, 30 days. For dairy, 30 days. It's only in the sugar subsector that farmers actually are being paid every 7 days by the private millers. That's why it was important, Madam Speaker, to carry out the leasing program so that farmers can understand and appreciate why, if they plant, because many of them had given up and they had left just a small portion of their land for subsistence. But now they are seeing it as a business. They are sure that when they grow their crop, they'll have somewhere to supply. Out of that raw material, we will be able to feed the local market, Madam Speaker, and perhaps even import. It is a reaction to that reality, Madam Speaker, that is being proposed by the various laws and amendments that are being done. Therefore, like I have mentioned, Madam Speaker, it's even about occupational safety, ensuring that the multinationals that set up camp in this country, you know, this is a very difficult country to do business in. I say this because I interact with various business people, Madam Speaker. And sometimes they tell you, while the returns are good in Kenya, one of the difficult things to do is that this is an extremely difficult market. Government interferes, stands in the way of business. Apart from government, Madam Speaker, there is litigation. Employees always take you to court. And out of the court issues, Madam Speaker, you will never be heard. 9 out of 10 times, if an employee takes an employer to court, you're almost certain that you will lose. It cannot be the case. There ought to be a balance, Madam Speaker. People need to realize that without the employer, there is no employee. Without the employee, there is no employer. And therefore, you must set up laws that conform to the demands of the 21st century, Madam Speaker. We were doing so well, for example, in the business processing, outsourcing space, Madam Speaker, until certain decisions were made in our courts, for example, that let people disappear out of this country, people that had already projected to invest significant amounts. You come from Muranga, Madam Deputy Speaker. On your way home, pass by Tatu City and see that, I forget the name of that particular company, the BPO station that has thousands of young people working in that part. part of a country. This is something that can be replicated across the country if certain adjustments are made that protects both the investor and the employee, Madam Speaker, so that we compete with other parts of the world. It doesn't make sense to many of the players in that particular industry, and I've taken time to watch and listen to them. They tell you Kenyans speak better English than the Indians, than the Philippines, who are the dominant players in that particular space, Madam Speaker. But because of our laws, because of lack of motivation and creating a law or an environment that motivates them, those multinationals that hold on to the contract of those companies that need these services, Madam Speaker, there is nothing about it that has attracted. Business is about attraction, Madam Speaker. If somebody finds that I'm going to a country where I can make a good return, they will come and invest here. So, Madam Speaker, this is part of the reaction to what is being mentioned in many particular spaces as a need to respond to the needs of the private sector, Madam Speaker, to make our country competitive, grow industries, create jobs for our young people, Madam Speaker, and earn a good return for the Republic of Kenya. So that is the long, in a nutshell, what this particular bill is about. This bill, Madam Speaker, has various proposals, and like I have mentioned, it amends various already existing statutes. The Investment Promotion Act, which was passed long time ago, actually, it's a Cap 485 law, meaning even pre this constitution, Madam Speaker. The Employment Act, also a Cap 226, Occupation and Safety Health Act, Cap 236, the Affordable Housing Act, at least this is a 2024 law, the Land Act, Cap 280, Anti-Counterfeit Act, Cap 510. These are pre-2010 statutes, Madam Speaker, many of which needs to be conformed, Madam Speaker, to the demands of the 21st century. Therefore, there are various amendments that are being proposed, and I'll ask members to take time and read and understand what is being done to actually modernize the country's business environment and making sure that the regulations for FDI, business process outsourcing, and IT services providers that will help them attract reputable investors to promote innovation and enhance the country's competitiveness in the global market. And we are not proposing rocket science. We are simply asking ourselves, what is it that Philippines have done to make their BPO industry employ perhaps 10, 15 million people, while ours is a paltry 50,000 or perhaps 100,000 maximum, Madam Speaker? Why India are able to do 3 to 4 million, you know? So it's not like we are walking a path that others haven't walked. It's simply ensuring that we conform to the demands of, we're listening to the market, Madam Speaker, to make our country as competitive as the rest. Investment promotion, Madam Speaker, various laws. I think last year or the year before, the permanent secretary in charge of immigration services published a list of what are the new charges for foreigners working in this country. There are certain industries that we must agree and accept, Madam Speaker, that we don't have the requisite skill available locally. So, of course, a multinational or an investor or even local investor sometimes, Madam Speaker, will come and make demands that I need people of a certain skill available. And the charge that is being passed to them is not something that they would pay. Many of them actually, I must say this, and I have shared this many times with the people at Immigration Service and so many others, that if you check, perhaps you might be making a similar amount to what used to be made in the past, but the compliance level is at an all-time low. Because if the amount previously for a particular class of permit was 50,000 and you have grown it to 1 million shillings, then the easier thing to do is to let the people work. The day the immigration people will come to check, you will just find something out of your pocket, pay them, and they will walk away. This is Kenya anyway. Instead of making such policies, Madam Speaker, why don't we respond to the demands of the market and ensure that we come up with amendments to the Investment Promotion Act, Madam Speaker, that will create will make the country actually as competitive as other regions. The Class G work permit is offered to any person who intends to engage, whether alone or in partnership, in prospecting for minerals or mining in Kenya. You know, you just check, ensure, confirm that that particular person has the expertise, they're able to demonstrate that in their country, Madam Speaker, they have been able to succeed in a particular industry, and as that are now coming before you to seek opportunity to invest in the country. Of course, a new definition of employer-employee, I had spoken to what happens in that particular space and the need to foster a good working relationship and a balance between the employer and the employee, Madam Speaker, so that none feels taken advantage of. Occupational safety, Madam Speaker, to ensure that we protect our workers as well, so that it's not just about protecting the investor and having them take advantage of our workers. That is important, Madam Speaker. There's an amendment to the Affordable Housing Act. I will be waiting to read the report of the committee to understand what is the logic specifically on whether they are sufficiently convinced of the need to do that particular act. There is the Anti-Counterfeit Act, Madam Speaker, that is also being changed so as to capture proper definitions of what a consumer is, what is a counterfeit, Madam Speaker. This is just to protect those that are in the manufacturing space. Counterfeiting is a big challenge that is challenging our manufacturing sector. If Senator Tabitha was here, she's a known industrialist, my deputy, she would tell you the challenge they face with people who actually bring replica of what they produce. And since it has been produced cheaply, they cut them off the market. And just tightening that particular space, Madam Speaker. In the ICT space, Madam Speaker, there's a lot that is being mentioned. Therefore, this is a very interesting piece of legislation. I want to take time and listen to colleagues, share their thoughts on it, read about it, Madam Speaker, and be able to lead us into making a law, Madam Speaker, that responds to the needs of the market. With those many remarks, Madam Speaker, I beg to move and request the Senator for Tana River, Senator Danson Buya Mungatana, to second. I thank you, Madam Speaker.
Senator Danson Mungatana, thank you, Majority Leader.
Thank you very much, Madam Speaker, for giving me the opportunity to second this bill. Madam Speaker, I want to thank the mover of this bill, our very able Majority Leader, for moving the Business Laws Amendment Bill 2024. Madam Speaker, I may not be the most qualified person, but I am amongst the qualified people to look at business laws because, Madam Speaker, I did at some point lecture on various business laws in the Nazarene University and also at the cooperative universities in Kenya. So some of these issues that I am going to discuss here are issues that we have discussed at the academic level, and I'm glad they have found their way into lawmaking and therefore solving some of the academic quagmires that existed before the amendment of the Business Laws Amendment Bill 2024. Madam Speaker, this bill intends to bring amendments to various laws that help us in the running of business. And the most important thing that I need to say is that it's a positive step towards creating a very good business environment for those who wish to invest in this country. Madam Speaker, the first law that it is dealing with is the Investment Promotion Act that is being amended. Madam Speaker, I really second the amendments that are proposed under the Investment Promotion Act. And Madam Speaker, I would also ask the committee to look very carefully into these amendments. And if there's a place they can support at the third ring, we can even make them better. But the first thing, Madam Speaker, there are now certificates that facilitators for foreign investors must be given by the government. Madam Speaker, a lot of people have lost money. Foreigners come to this country with the aim of starting, putting in their money. And Madam Speaker, they land into the hands of con men and con women. And these people take them round and round. And at the end of it, they lose their money in this country. And Madam Speaker, the game they play, they go all the way and coordinate even with some officers to make sure that that person who has been conned is declared a persona non grata in the country, so that he loses his money and then he cannot come back to Kenya. And people just continue living, enjoying here largely, you know, posting in social media how they have bought new cars, how they have done what, and yet it is money they have stolen from potential investors. So, Madam Speaker, when we say that the new proposed Section 3 that now accredits those people who are calling themselves facilitators, now I'm saying from the floor of this Senate that there will be need for you as a foreign investor to go and meet properly accredited facilitator for your investment. You must go to them. Don't go to find anybody somewhere in the streets who tells you, oh, I know the minister, I know so-and-so, I know so-and-so, just put money here and I will do the work for you. There will be people who are properly accredited, and this will bring some sanity in this section of business to Kenyans. The other important thing, Madam Speaker, is that these foreign investors, after they have been protected, they must be issued with a certificate of foreign investment in Kenya. When this bill becomes law, Madam Speaker, it would mean that a foreign investor now who comes to this country, you will not just start working before you are given a foreign investment certificate. And this certificate protects you, but it also protects us. Because I like the creativity behind proposed Clause 5 and Clause 6. It says, this certificate, before it is offered to you as a foreign investor, you must show that you are going to create employment amongst Kenyans. You must show that you are bringing acquisition or you are bringing new modern skills compatible with the state of the art technology in Kenya. You don't bring outdated technology. You must show that your foreign investment is going to contribute to tax revenues or other government revenues in this country. You must show that somehow you are transferring technology to Kenya. You must show that your investment is going to bring value addition to the processes of local and natural agricultural resources in this country. So there is a certificate that you must be given. Madam Speaker, there has been many people who have come in this country, and all they do, Madam Speaker, is to steal from this country. Recently, and I congratulate our current CS for mining and blue economy, CS Hassan Joho, because he displayed to us some Chinese investors who were actually mining illegally. They were robbing this country, literally. And then they take whatever they have mined, very expensive minerals. They put them in those things, containers. And those containers, when they were opened, they were found to have those stolen minerals from this country. And Madam Speaker, if you cannot get an investment certificate, it means if we find you in our counties, because this mining is done in those faraway counties, if we don't get you with a foreign investment certificate, then we will chase you away or have you arrested. Because some of these investors, Madam Speaker, have been rogue investors. Now, this law is also telling us, as much as we protect the investor, the people from investment, it also helps us to deal with them, because they are given a certificate which can be withdrawn. So, Madam Speaker, if you have been issued a certificate by the government, and then you go and you start doing activities outside what was given, we have seen some investors here, Madam Speaker, that are slapping Kenyans, and videos are taken of them slapping Kenyans when they are working, mistreating Kenyans. Or you are paying our Kenyan people a different wage from those other people that you came home with, from home with. And they are doing the same work, but you are paying these people 4 or 5 times. You are discriminating against them. Madam Speaker, now this certificate can be quickly revoked, and we are protecting our business, our businesses and the dignity of our people. Madam Speaker, the other very nice invention I have found in this Business Laws Amendment Bill is clause number 11B. In this one, Madam Speaker, what the law is proposing is that we have a centralized unit where all these people who want to be issued with certificates and they have complied, they also benefit from government facilities that are given to them, government services and regulatory services. Madam Speaker, they will be guaranteed that your business registration will be very fast. They will be given tax exemption. They will be given environmental conservation approval. And Madam Speaker, they will be given even construction approvals. All this will be done under one place, a one-stop shop. Madam Speaker, when you think about it, some countries, even small countries within the East African region, they have overtaken, because you go there, it's the same day your business is registered, it's the same day you are opening your bank accounts, it's the same day you are given work permits, so you are bringing your people, you are importing, your capital comes in, and within 1 week, Madam Speaker, you are up and running. Your machine has come in, your tax exempt status is approved, and before long, Madam Speaker, you are able to move with your machines without any problem, and you create employment. Here in Kenya, you are told, oh, go to this ministry, go to the other ministry, go. Although the number of business days for registration and whatever have drastically improved from long ago, still the processes is not one place. It's not a one-stop shop like the way we created for borders. Now we are moving this idea from what we are doing in the borders to this place where, Madam Speaker, we are saying, now if somebody learns to create a business in Kenya, within this number of days, you have everything, labor compliance obligation, environmental obligation, land administration obligations, all these things, the government now through this law will create one place. And Madam Speaker, this authority is not just another authority. There is a 15A clause that says you must collaborate with this authority. Every government department is forced to collaborate with this authority. So if you are told, give them this certificate, give them this construction permit, give them this business permit, all the government authorities are supposed to work with this. All the public agencies are supposed to work with this centralized place. Madam Speaker, Kenya will be a different place. People coming from Germany, they want to set up something. People coming from the USA, they want to start something. People, they can literally walk to one place, start off, and before long, having met all the obligations within the country's requirement, they will be found to have been they will be doing business without a problem. And this is something we want like yesterday. Madam Speaker, I am very happy with these business laws, and I could say a lot, but time is running out, so I will stop there and say that I beg to second and urge all members to now move out of lamenting, move out of saying, oh, other countries are overtaking us within the region. They move out of talking and come here, vote for this bill. And if there are problems within these business laws, please come and bring amendments. Let us move from lamenting and make the law that will help this country move from where it is to another level. Madam Speaker, this is probably one of the best laws that we are putting at actually actualizing our thinking that Kenya must industrialize. Kenya must move forward. I beg to second. Thank you.
Honorable Senators, I propose the question that the Business Laws Amendment Bill, Senate Bills number 51 of 2024, be now read a second time. Honorable Senators, it is now 6:30. Time to adjourn the House, and the Senate therefore stands adjourned until Tuesday, 3rd June 2025 at 2:30 p.m. Thank you.